Waterford Crystal Mile. Runners moving up here for the second. Here's Greg.
Switzerland the favourite at 180-140 on the tote, out to 190 on the course. So Bobbin won the jump. Exemius got away well. Sizzling jumped pretty well. He's being bustled, but he just hasn't got the early speed. And Lincoln Rupee drives up to retain the inside. Switzerland going on the outside of him. And Exemius settling down third. The favourite finds the lead now. Hasn't quite crossed over, though. In behind those horses, settling down fourth on the outside is Fire Thunderbolt, a length and a half away. Is over on the inside, General Leaf, being followed then by Sizzling, niggled at to hold his place, and Maury next to the outside, and two Bobbin, and back last of all is Lashed Out. It's Lincoln Rupee by a half length. Switzerland had a couple of cracks for the lead, but couldn't get it, and Idle's outside the leader as they come around the home turn. Five Thunderbolts moving up, Sizzling a length and a half away, and then Exemius and General Leaf are on the fence as they cornered Lincoln Rupee. Switzerland's under some pressure. She's looks to be in a little bit of bother here. It's out in front, Lincoln Rupee by 3/4, Switzerland and Fire Thunderbolt, the three of them, a length and a half clear from Sizzling. Lincoln Rupee giving everything. Switzerland starting to rally. Fire Thunderbolt on the outside. Switzerland lifts. She's got off the canvas to win. Switzerland by a long head, either Lincoln Rupee on the inside or Fire Thunderbolt for the miners, and Sizzling close up. What a cracking finish. Generally for behind them, followed by Bobbin, and then Maury and
Again, punters. Main thing is his numbers in the frame. Number 10, Stetson will go in the frame. Those betting in the run, like all of us would have thought that she's gone here, but she's lifted off the deck in 110.09. A terrific run
to the home turn, and then it was a real sprint in the straight, and probably
she did, and that's all you can do. Had a 2 kilo pull on Fire Thunderbolt. It was fantastic, wobbling around the corner and up the straight. Lincoln Rupee continues its march towards better races. They did walk. Well, Corey Hart blamed himself there. He said he went too slow. He did. He said she just dropped a bit and to find it again, and she found. That's a sign of a very good horse.
Absolutely, and she's running up against some really nice up-and-coming colts there. Fire Thunderbolt, he's a nice size of a horse and a good talent. Unbeaten as a 2-year-old. Lincoln Rupee's got a lot of ability. But General Leaf or General Ivan Shark?
He was very good, I thought. And I think the Melbourne Racing Club programming there yesterday, putting that race on, 250,000 in prize money, fantastic prize money for the Blue Sapphire. First running of it there. That's the first crack at it. It's going to go.
Yeah, you love it when a plan comes to on the table. And Gerald put one on there, I think last July, saying I'm going to run her in 5 races in the spring. And I think, what has she won? 4 of them now, Switzerland. And geez, there was a couple of good runs in this race if we can have a look at it, because although she dug in and got the job done, and she's a dominant sprinting filly, I think the Adelaide horse here is pretty smart, underrated, this Fire Thunder. There's a big race in him somewhere over the carnival.
Big club stakes, Galachi Stakes at Group 2 level coming up here. Of course, the last 2 years, this race dominated by the mighty mare, the undefeated champion in Black Caviar. There is some sort of synergy in this race with the appearance of Pampalone, who will be carrying the colours of Alan Bell.
And goes in. 1,000 metres, the trip. Not far away, okay. One knuckle badly snits him down on his nose. Marlasan, the filly, began brilliantly, and she's going to drive the issue early. So Marlasan going to the front, ahead of Buffering, trying to kick up on the inside with First Command, and didn't cost a lot. 1.5 further back, fifth is Papillon, being followed by Golden Archer. They're being trailed Sterling Grove, and then Temple of Boom. Well back as Lone Rock and Snitsum. Marlasan had the lead with her lightweight to the home turn, a length and a half clear on Buffering. I don't think he's ever won a race if he hasn't led, so the chips are down for him coming around the turn. They're followed by Didn't Cost a Lot, First Command, and then came down the outside Golden Archer. Marlasan the leader, a length in front of the 200, but Buffering looked to coast up to have a crack at her on the outside, and 2 or 3 lengths further back Golden Archer. Buffering takes the lead, 150 to go. First 2 lengths Pampalon, Golden Archer coming home. Buffering is clear, he's 2 lengths in front, and he is too good. Buffering won it from Golden Archer, perhaps. Sterling Grove's close up, and Pampalon between them in photos for the miners. Clear of Didn't Cost a Lot, Temple of Boom, and then came Lone Rock.
Well, if the vacant title is there as the best sprinter in the land currently, it's certainly in the hands now of Buffering, just stalking the speed. He had a bunny in the shape of Marlasan there, and he just stalked and stalked and stalked. Huey let through probably one of the 2 gears he needed to go through. Too big, too strong.
It's got a third, and they've broken 57, 56.95. And
Buffering, what a star! What a star he is, Buffering. It's just One of those horses you'd love to take to the races because you know you're going to get, first of all, you get a check.
To really get behind and cheer for this spring. And it's buffering now. I just want him to win a Group 1. When he goes to the Manikato, I'll be shouting and screaming. He does deserve it, Rich. He's been so good for so long and run into Black Caviar, run into Haylist. You saw yesterday how dominant he is over this sort of second-tier sprinter. Gee, I hope he wins.
The only horse that's got his one that had no luck at all, Shark.
Lone Rock. Yeah, Lone Rock also heading towards Manikato and had been really heavily backed in those.
History has told us that buffering has gone and pushed Black Caviar and Haylist on a number of occasions. Are you tempted by Royal Ascot?
Or perhaps in the future, you know, something towards the end of the horse's career. He's only 5 years old, and you know he's still a Group 1 virgin. He hasn't cracked it yet. You know, it's been I've been proud and
Be competitive over the Derby weekend in the sprint, and there was a mare there, Lone Rock, who just had no luck whatsoever. She was just bolting behind them and had no galloping room whatsoever. Look out for her. She's come up really well.
I think when you come to Mooney Valley on the Friday night before the Cox Plate. Race 5, first one of the Group 1s in Melbourne, the Pacific Caulfield Stakes. Look at those totes. It's horrible, isn't it? $4, $20, $10. I'm not as short as that, partner.
26 out to 31. 145 to 150 for Ocean Park. We'll be interested to see if the Punno Fields issue totally.
Stay with us throughout the afternoon. We'll have some breaking news on a rider for Green Moon in the
Racing now, Sincero winning the jump, and Midas Touch didn't step all that well, and Hugh Bowman really has to stool him up early. Ocean Park just eases back, and Sincero now goes back as well as Midas Touch runs up to Sabridge and takes over the running. In third placing, Sanagas, and Ocean Park's a neck away fourth. Then there's two lengths Sincero, given time Sincero, and one away on the rails was Alco Pop. So the Caulfield Stakes field puts the 1,000 metres astern, and they're running down for the business end. Midas Touch clear, Sabridge a length away. Sanagas has had the good run. On the outside is the favourite Ocean Park, just Boss sitting very quietly at the moment. Alco Pop's gone back second last now, and Sincero last the outside. Only 5 covered them. And Midas Touch the leader. In second placing, Sabridge just creeping a little closer, 600 to go. Then there's a length and a half away. Sanagas has to wait. He's being dictated to. Ocean Park now starts his move. Sincero tries to get his back. They're bunching now, and Alco Pop last. 3 lengths only cover them on the swing. And here's Ocean Park with the red blankers on, who he's canted up to them around the turn. Sincero's come on. He's come with a dash on the outside. They got the Sabridge and Midas Touch down with 200 to go now. And it's Ocean Park the leader. He's 3/4 Sincero. He's digging in strongly, and Alco Pop's closing. Ocean Park in front. Boss hit to go for the whip. The Kiwi responds. He gets home. Ocean Park by a half a length. Alco Pop or Sincero in a photo. Well clear from Midas Touch, who's run fourth. Sabridge fifth. And last of the half dozen was Sanagas.
Well, the favourite wins. He wins well, Ocean Park. Not sure how we're going to assess this going forward, but Boss, kidding top of the straight, had to lift and find Ocean Park. He did that. There's obviously a little bit left in the tank for him to go, and he's ticking over beautifully towards the Cox Plate. Bossy loved it. Ocean Park wins. Alco Pop.
Yeah, no, really pleased with it. Bossy didn't want to give him a hard one going. He's only had 2 gallops coming into this, so it's good.
I reckon you've got a fair bit left in the tank. You want to obviously peak come Melbourne, Mooney Valley in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, for sure. That's the race we're looking for, and we didn't want to gutbuster today.
I mean, how much you
Travelled beautifully throughout the run of the race, and then moved up into the straight. And I thought he was just going to.
What does that tell you about him going forward to the Cox Plate?
Yeah, that's a race he really needed today. He's like I said to a lot of the press, he's thrived in the last. He's actually put on weight since that last run. So today's run was the one that he really needed to clean him right out. And I'm glad he had a contest today because he really needed that. The best part about him was his attitude. He put himself in a very good spot very easily.
Him, obviously, what you want in the Cox Plate is the usual Cox Plate pressure.
Well, listen, he's got the ability to put himself anywhere in a race. So I'm not worried about the pressure. Jockey's not concerned about pressure, and I don't think the horse is. So, and Gary's not going to be too worried about pressure. I think he's the right horse. I really do. He's got weight for age form now.
I never not winners. That's 3 Group 1s in a row, 6 out of 10 overall. I suppose we're expecting more, given it was a very slow tempo here, 11.3 lengths slower than average first 1,200. Alco Pop, he's a beauty in the Caulfield Stakes, man. Second to say you think of it. He'll run Caulfield Cup next week. He should make that list. We'll get to that a bit later on. Blinkers are going to go on Sincero. What do you take out of this Cox Plate wise, Shane?
Look, I'm not sure, Bruce. I think going into the race, you saw that the pace probably was going to be similar to what was run yesterday. You're looking at that and you consider that Ocean Park is the horse with the best turn of foot and the sharpest sprint. When they came around the corner, I thought, oh, gee, boss is half kidding to these. Sincero had been out and working to catch up and Alcopop easing wide. You thought Ocean Park would just go whack and sprint away, maybe a 2-3 length win. He made heavy weather of it. Yeah, maybe this is the run that he needed to have just to, as Glenn said after the race, to clean him out. And he needs to be a bit more dynamic than that going to Moonee Valley.
You go into the flank. Top horse in Zero.
He's in terrific form. There's no question about that. That win yesterday made it 3 Group 1s in a row. He won the Challenge Stakes at home. He won the Underwood Stakes and the Caulfield Stakes yesterday made it a Group 1 hat-trick. Well, this spring too, it's a done deal. Last week won the Spring Champion Stakes. Ocean Park's claimed 2 of them in Australia. Zurella did pretty well, picked up a nice race at Flemington. So we're back here in force this year.
They certainly are. And look, he's still a live chance. Look, we keep saying all morning, oh, we don't think anything out. That race can win the Cox Plate. But that race can't win the Cox Plate. Can anything out of that race win the Cox Plate?
Well,
I'm not so sure they can.
well, I think you'll see Green Moon shorten up in the markets because he wasn't there yesterday.
He's got question marks against him as well. Is he still sharp enough for 2,000?
During the week is Simon with us there in Melbourne. Simon, that was unfortunate. Madigar not only out of yesterday's race, but his spring is over. How is it?
Yeah, no, it seems to have come through things okay, but look, reality says you wait until you get them back into light exercise, and then as they progress through their campaign, that's when we'll really know that things are back on track. We hope they are because he's been a very good horse.
One down, went the way of the favourite. More Joyce is favourite for the second group one, the David Jones Durack handicap, the Supermare from Gay Waterhouse, and look at the totes. They're all rolling in the all uppers there. $1.30 on the totes. You can get a lot better than that. Big black figures out there for the punters who bet at the fixed odds. And More Joyous, I bet she brings an impeccable record. She's had a good clean out in Sydney with a couple of barrier trial wins, a good prize money along the way. What a beauty.
You're entitled to have this little concern about the 60 kilos. She did win this race in class harmonium, 12 into 950. The only other one you want to look at there is Souls and It's been 448 to 550. Clear cut favourite, More Joyous. Good money and firms again. Glass harmonium, $12 into 9.
No.
He's 225 and fave on track ahead of Selzenitz and him still holding up on the tote at $12.40. He's been backed into 9 on course. There's Tokugawa going in. Steve Kisay getting a little edgy outside. They're off and racing. More Joyous jumped evenly. Glass Harmonium missed it by 2 lengths. And Yosei a little bit slow. Steps in Time is going for the lead in the early stages ahead of King Mufasa. And More Joyous is on the improve. She's got up into third a little bit wide around Spirit Song and Selzenitz. And she's still a little bit deep there. About a length and a half further back, Yalundi, Glass Harmonium. And they're followed Tokugawa. As they go to the top of the track, she's still working the fave. In behind them, Yosei and Elo is last. Steps in Time has the lead. More Joyous did some work with her weight, so let's see what she has. As they went past 1,000, she shares the front. Then Glass Harmonium is a length away, and he's caught out 3 wide. Spirit Song right in behind them, and King Mufasa's running 5th, only 3 off the leader. Tutor Solzhenitsyn enjoying a good run, and then Yalundi, followed by Tokugawa. Yosei second last, and Elo Steps in Time had the lead. They haven't run it particularly hard. A length away second is More Joyous. Spirit Song third. Glass Harmonium deep. King Mufasa fifth. Niggled at and Tutor Solzhenitsyn as they neared the turn. Steps in Time a length and a half. More Joyous trying to chase him down as they swing around the home turn, and then Spirit Song. Solzhenitsyn's pulled to the outside to make ground. King Mufasa's ahead of him around the turn. Steps in Time a length and a half to More Joyous, given full ball by Ruilla. Spirit Song's in the clear with the lightweight. Anna's finishing it off very strongly, and Solzhenitsyn's coming down the outside. Spirit Song went to More Joyous, took the lead, but Solzhenitsyn's coming home, and then Yosei. Solzhenitsyn after Spirit Song. Solzhenitsyn out wide, hits the front. Solzhenitsyn won the Turek by a hit to Spirit Song. Ahead away third, Yosei, and they're followed by More Joyous. Did too much early with the big weight. Steps in Time, battled bravely. King Mufasa weakened. Elo next over, followed by Tokugawa. Glass Harmonium had a torrid.
Heathcote, what a turn up for the books here with the flop of More Joyous and King Mufasa. But let's talk on the winner. Solzhenitsyn, clever ride by Corey Brown, kept out of a busy first 600 metres, ended up with a perfect trail into the race.
One, number two. So, just awesome. You know, look, I'm lost for
This was for just $10,000. What a cheapie.
He's got a great eye. He paid double for buffering, 22,000.
You had great faith in this horse for a long time, and to see him come off here and beat two of the stars of Australasia must give you a great thrill.
Yeah, it does, Bruce. And the horse came to me in great order from Richard Otto, and Richard knew that it had a lot of potential. And the very first day I started him, he flew home from last and run fourth. And I said to the boys there, I said, this is a horse that'll be on the front page of the papers one day.
Well, he'll be on the back page now. What's the rest of the spring hold? You win a Group 1 today, beating some of the best.
The funny thing is I inadvertently played him up for the Cox Plate, but the boys said, I might be out of our league, but we'll go to the Waterford Crystal Mile and then on to the Emirates.
And now a Group 1 as he comes back. Solzhenitsyn.
Very well performed horses here. It's not only the fact they've been able to win Group 1 and Group 2 races here, just have a look at their records overall. And that is...
Race, Corey, well done.
A lot of petrol with a big weight to get over and give her a soft enough run. But look, I got all the brakes, had no weight on my back, and it's good to be back in the winner's circle.
Great day for Rob Heathcote, a horse that cost us $10,000. There you go. One cost $1 million, wins a Group 1, one cost $10,000. Shows the great level playing field that Australian racing can be. Solzhenitsyn, but saw on there Brighton in victory there yesterday. But a race that panned out well and beautifully judged right here by Corey to wait off the speed here.
Well, just quickly, so early on in the race, you watch a few of them, including Corey on Solzhenitsyn, the winner. They just punch up and hold their spots,
Absolutely.
which makes Nash have to say, right, I've got to keep going.
Absolutely. And you watch Nash at the same time. I think from barrier 4, Rich, they just assumed that lob out and get a perfect trail. And
In a 1-1.
it didn't work out like that with Spirit Song, who has been ridden slightly off speed lately, but has good gate speed. And as I say, Solzhenitsyn can begin as well. They just held her out, made her work that little bit hard. That hill at Caulfield, which we know is a bit difficult with that 60 kilos when she ended up outside steps in time. It was going to be difficult, but Solzhenitsyn.
Finish this conversation, go.
About an hour. You won with buffering, Solzhenitsyn and Fantontes in Queensland. That's your biggest hour in racing, surely.
Oh, for sure, Richard. I mean, it's, I'm still pinching myself that it actually happened. And
Rob, you'd have to agree it was a perfect ride by Corey Brown. He just did enough to make more joyous work to get around him, then he judged the speed of the race beautifully.
yeah, perfect ride. And
Ronnie, this question in just a moment, but what did you think of More Joyous's run yesterday in the tour?
I still think she's a champion mare. I thought it was a fantastic run, 60 kilos. She travelled wide, she travelled deep. She'll still be very hard to beat in the Cox Plate. When she meets them at weight for age, she lost no admirers and certainly not me.
Handicap, and it was a tough race, and she did have 60 kilos and back to weight for age. Maybe we could give her another chance. The jury is a little bit out there. Look, she's yet to prove herself and a tough 2,000 metres.
Yeah, I think your point is right. The pressure that will be on in a Cox Plate from the
Yeah. Well, we've got to see the makeup of the field. Maybe it's not going to be a pressure race. Let's just wait till we see the makeup. The thing in her defence is the two runs that she's had back from a spell have been absolute trot and canters up front. So she hadn't been toughened up by a hard run race, and that could toughen her up with that tough run under her belt now, because the two races she won.
After Piero, the super unbeaten colt for Game Waterhouse winning at Moonee Valley Stud Stakes Hall of Fame, or maybe about to step into it if can win this. The Group 1 Caulfield Guineas sponsored by Beck, all up into the Cox Plate. Of course, Natural has the ride there. He had the horse. There's Piero, the best 3-year-old in the country, one of the best highest rated 3-year-olds ever. Piero, unbeaten. He brings invincibility to the table here today, Shane. The market say he'll win. The form says he'll win. Will he win?
It's the first time I've seen him.
An important day for All Too Hard. The stables not signing off defeat here. They're saying if he brings the A-grade game, he'll win. We know the talent's there. He's unbeaten in Melbourne. Shane, he looks the part today, doesn't he? He looks fantastic.
Well, let's go through his ticks. We're talking about market mover already, because the big punters took whatever price they could get to days ago. Well, that's 8.50 out to 11. I think watching that develop that Bruce showed us was like that. 11 out to 13 for All Too Hard. Asher Kant said, thank you. So a lot of the pros thinking it's just picking up money.
Well, it's been a fantastic race over there. I think so. Here's Greg for the running of the Beck, Caulfield Guineas 2012.
Road tripping goes in. And Piero jumped reasonably. He's one of the last, actually, and Roberta's niggling and pushing. Where's he going to go? Ashercan straight across to find the lead with Epaulet. Carrying Bush Jack, awesome, bro. Kicking up is Let Go Landing, and Piero's 4 deep. Deep climbing up the hill. He's doing some work the fave here. Chicane takes the lead, settling down at the 1,200 metres. From moving up Piero, we'll find out how good he is today, I'll tell you. 3/4 away second. Carrying Bush Jack is third. 2 lengths Epaulet, Let Go Lenny. Then there's a length and a half further back in the field at the 1,000 a road trip, an awesome row. And at the end of the field is All Too Hard. So Ashakan has the lead. He's a length and a half. Piero second. Carrying Bush Jack third. 800 left to go. One further back, Epaulet, Road Tripping deep out in the pink, and then Let Go Lenny, Awesome Bro, and All Too Hard. Ashakan leads the Guineas field down the side, 3/4 Piero. Road Tripping going up to try and put some pressure on. Carrying Bush Jack waits behind them. Now Epaulet goes through and is starting his run to chase them down, and All Too Hard's putting in a run. Ashakan in front around the home turn, a half Piero. Epaulet niggled third, All Too Hard's coming on. Into the straight now, Ashakan headed by Piero. And Piero dashed away now by 2 lengths. On running on, All Too Hard down the outside. And Epaulet boxing on to below the 200. And Piero, Rawilla had to pull the whip. All Too Hard's a length and a half away. Piero in front. All Too Hard's got his chance. He's coming with momentum. Piero has to fight. All Too Hard's grabbed him. And All Too Hard has won it. All Too Hard by a half a length, Piero. A length and a half away, third Epaulet, and a long break, Awesome Bro, fourth. Another long break, Road Trip, and Let Go Lenny, Carrying Bush Jack, and Ashakan in a bunch at the tail.
Well, another thrilling Caulfield Guineas, and they've talked the talk and walked the walk now with All Too Hard, this magnificent colt who's had the big question mark over his true ability being shown. Well, he delivers today in emphatic style, coming back from last. All Too Hard, they said if he brings his A-grade game, he'll win. They were right. A-grade game.
I'm doing, but it's the second race in a row that Nash was in real trouble early, getting a position for his runner.
He jumped a bit steady, and then there's no doubt that 58.
This colt, and you've been saying for weeks that if he brought his A-grade game, he'd win. I know you weren't saying that in jest either. It sounded at times as though you were, but you were super confident in this horse.
There you go, Gay Waterhouse congratulating me. There's a good sport. Yeah, I know. I spoke to you on the radio this morning and spoke about if he brought his A game, and that's what he did, mind you. If you watch the replay with 800 metres to go, he's back last on the inside, and it certainly wasn't the place he wanted to be, but he just got him out in the clear running and let him keep coming, and he's a serious horse, this horse. He always has been, and as I said to you this morning, Bruce, he's only getting beat 2 lengths behind Piero. He wasn't getting beat 22, so it's not like he had to turn it around, and it's a pretty good effort to beat Piero because he goes okay.
He sure does. Put aside
Piero's dad, Lonro. He is in that class, this horse, and just Thursday morning, you're watching him work, and I just shaking my head. And then I wonder why I was shaking my head, and I was thinking it was just too easy. And he just does it too easy. He's got so much ability, this horse, and well, it's the race that makes stallions, isn't it?
What switched him up?
His runs when he's got a 21-day break are exceptionally good. And he's just gone home too well to beat Piero. He's gone under. That's the shock of the day. $1.22 PSP.
Well, it's just as satisfying as any result you've had, Dwayne.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, I got asked earlier how good he was, and I probably said he was probably one of the best I've ridden, and he probably let us down early in this campaign, but he was here and he delivered today. As you said, off a hot speed, gave me a chance to get into the race late.
I mean, you've been with him.
There's not much difference to his others, but the tempo was so hot early, I just couldn't hold that spot.
You have to get past a horse no horse has ever got.
Horse that we've all been waiting to become a superstar finally stood up.
Absolutely. With All Too Hard.
Yeah, it was a great day all round, Bruce. It's I don't think it's really sunk in yet. It's the days you wake up early in the morning in the middle of winter.
Pull the whip. All Too Hard to length and a half away. Piero crack. He's coming with momentum. Piero has to fight. All Too Hard's grabbed him, and All Too Hard has won it. All Too Hard by a half a length, Piero.
It cost $1,025,000 a year, and he probably added about $10 million to his value yesterday. All Too Hard running down Piero for the first time. No horse has ever done that. Epaulet and the gap to the remainder there. Looking at the sectional times here, Shark up. The last 1,200 here, All Too Hard's Piero's actually ran quicker last 1,200 than All Too Hard, if you can understand what that means. But which means that the first 400 he went 1.7 lengths quicker than All Too Hard. Now you can put this up and bamboozle yourself, but 10.74 between 14 and 1,200. He did some work early, Piero. He was brave going under, wasn't he?
Absolutely. The damage was done early, as you say, and Vince Accardi's times tell you that. Look, under the circumstances, to basically race the field for the first 400 metres, which he did to have to get into that forward position, was incredible that he even had a turn of foot off that corner. Like, forget about the fact that he's been beaten and just look at the run itself and forget about the $1.20 factor. It was an enormous performance. The winner, All Too Hard, he was out the back and had to basically try and catch up because they'd gone that quick in front. Pierre had kicked off the corner. His run was fantastic. Epaulette, take a line through the two really good colts, the first and second home, flips that run down probably, and still ran well. And then you've got that massive gap to the rest. The first two home were incredible performances.
So we're going to do this the whole show, are we? You just
All Too Hard has been missing it just by bees, you know what, but that's just enough to put him, instead of being in the 1-1 or, in the perfect spot, he's back last off slow tempos and away they go. Yesterday was a fast tempo, a bit like the size. They ran along good in the size in Melbourne, the Melbourne size, and he sat back off him and away he went. So yesterday was the first sort of tempo-related race that he actually had a chance.
A lot of our races. I went the first 800, 12.1 lengths quicker than average yesterday in that race, 136.06.
One thing I do want to say is Piero has only got beaten half a length too. Gee, we bet when we get beat, but he's only just got beat. I reckon he's going to be very hard to beat again, the Cox Plate. And
Piero, we saw last year Helmet and Menawanui have a rule like Gutbusters. Neither of them recaptured. I know Menawanui then went to the Valley of Now, but Helmet never recaptured the form. I'm a Piero man, but you just want to see, because that was a real gutbusters as
Piero yesterday.
Great Cox Plates. There you go. Everyone looking for a Cox Plate. You're more than likely to have three-year-olds lining up.
Yeah.
Piero.
Oxy on the 200 and Piero at the top. All 200 to half the way. Trump's chance, he's coming at momentum. Big to fight. All Too Hard grabbed him, and All Too Hard has won it. All Too Hard by a half a length, Pierre. A length and a half away.
Only 100 group with 1 wins there for John Hawkes. That colt very well bred, finally realising that potential.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that was his style of race, All Too Hard. He's been waiting to get on in one of these races with high pressure and big stakes on offer. And he just got the perfect run into the race there. And you have to give it to John Hawkes for just going outside the square too, because he didn't take the traditional path of putting him in the lead up 3-year-old races. He toughened him up in a weight for age race against some hard heads. And it certainly paid dividends there yesterday. Taking nothing away from the winner, I have to say Piero was gallant in defeat. He did too much work in the run. And he was entitled to give up there late. I have to be very, very forgiving for him there. He was the only survivor of the on-pace stuff after missing the start and driving up the hill there and gassing himself. Don't know how he's going to recover. Look, he had that hard gallop Tuesday. He's had that hard run on Saturday. I know he's a tough horse, but he'll want to be going to the Cox Plate. But if he arrives in the Cox Plate in that form, I still think he can win it.
I tend to agree with you. I think it was an enormous run from Piero. I'm a great fan of Nash's, and he rides some tremendous races, and more tremendous races than the other way. It was a serious tactical error out of the gates. I don't know whether it was Nash's decision or whether he was instructed that he had to go forward out of the gates, but every other jockey seemed to know what the tactics would be, that he would go forward out of the gates. They all went forward inside him. He got trapped out in no man's land. And then the decision to push on up that hill at Caulfield, that's almost suicide tactics at Caulfield. And Nash has ridden at Caulfield many, many times. He grew up riding at Caulfield. So it was just a split-second decision that didn't work out well for him. And I think it cost Piero the race. And
good to see two really good 3-year-olds fight it out. I mean, the Caulfield Guineas is synonymous for that. You go back to it. In saying that, I don't think in that race yesterday we saw the winner of the Cox Plate.
So you don't feel All Too Hard or Piero can go on? I mean, you feel that they've reached their mark yesterday?
I have to repeat that.
Yeah, no, I want you to.
Yeah,
I want you to clarify.
I don't think in the Caulfield Guineas yesterday we saw the winner of the Cox Plate.
Well, there's Piero favourite at $2.80, and All Too Hard's come from $40 into $8.
Doesn't mean he wins it, does it?
No, I know that, but you feel
The Cox Plate. Much intrigue here. The Cup's coming up with a Herbert power. A little bit of drizzly rain about, not much. It wouldn't have any effect on the track. Here's the market. Get to see Gatewood and Shawadi here today. So the first two internationals 2012 to run on our tracks, and Gatewood leads off the tote market and also his favourite in the Gatewood 28, Shawadi equal 28, Ian Mick 31, and Mr. O'Kieran 32. Precedence unqualified for the Caulfield Cup
36. Would I exclude size for that?
Over here on two fronts is number 2 Gatewood, punters. Number 2 Gatewood at the end of
Off now. And Gatewood jumped pretty well down in gate 4. Einstein alongside of him got away well and Precedence away nicely. Dance with Her. Shadow Roller's begun fast and I'm Jake's on the improve. All Burns from the outside barrier is about 6 or 7 deep, but he's going up with Mr. O'Kieran immediately on his inside. And Exceptionally's gone back and she's last outside Shawadi. I'm Jake led Mr. O'Kieran and All Burns is on there outside doing some work at the turn out of the straight. Dance with Her's got over into a nice place outside of Ironstein. 1 Precedence and then Go Die. Silence around. 2 excluded. 1.5 Exceptionally and Shawadi last. 1,000 to run of the Herbert Power, and I'm Jake in front. Guns at 5.5 second, and Mr. O'Kieran's pushing up in the centre to keep Guns at 5 working out wide. 2.5 lengths away, B and Mick, and then Einstein over on the inside with All Burns. Half a length to Reuben Percival coming on out wide, and Gatewood's trying to work into the race in traffic at the moment from Dance with Her. Then Budai, Red Eye Special, followed by Silence Around, Precedence excluded, Exceptionally Shawadi. 500 left to go. I'm Jake in front of Mr. O'Kieran. B and Mick on the outside. Einstein's had the dream run, just needs some luck now. And then Reuben Percival, Budai. Excluded's coming around the outside. As they sweep around the turn, Gatewood must have got shuffled back. He's about third last into the straight, where I'm Jake led by 2. Einstein's in the clear. Then came B and Mick. Excluded's coming on. Here's Shawadi coming right down the outside now. Einstein raced up, but Excluded and Shawadi are closing out wide. Shawadi and Excluded go to Einstein. Shawadi takes the lead, comes right away. Shawadi by a length Excluded and Exceptionally flies home. She might have grabbed third from Einstein and Silence Around and a photo finish there. Gatewood no luck, and they're followed closely by Precedence and further back.
Wins. I reckon the other one could have. Shawadi wins the Karen McAvoy back from last with a big searching run here and a brilliant performance on debut here in Australia. Gatewood.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's your interims there. 12, 9 and 420 for Shawadi and Karen McAvoy.
By a length Excluded.
Thought it came out as a travelling companion for Americane. It goes, well, where will it go? What will it get? 1.5 kilos, perhaps? Won't be enough. Won't run the Caulfield Cup. Probably has to run somewhere else to get to the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, look, he was good. It was his first win in 3 years. He won his first 3 races when he was with Alain Dupre, and then he went elsewhere and didn't go too well. His form in Europe this year had been all right behind Joshua Tree and horses like that. Tech the Boy Strong. Let's talk about Gatewood. Corey Brown now. You know that feeling, Rich, when you're on the freeway, you take out and you see the lane move to the left, I'll jump in there.
The other one goes quicker.
And then your lane stop.
And I think that really sums up perfect.
Except Corey got in the wrong lane, and then that lane went in reverse.
He was stuck following Beryl from Merrick from here.
See the big lorry, the big 7 trailer off that.
It was unfortunate. And after the race, we're watching it down in the jockeys and waiting for the jockeys to get a quote. And Corey came and he watched the replay and he said, I should have stayed on the back of Einstein. If I do, the rail opens as it does at Caulfield at that time of day. And he sort of just kicked himself and said, I just made the wrong decision. And of course, it didn't happen for him. Gatewood will win a race here. He is 5 lengths better than Shawadi. It's where the two compare on the European form.
You'll go to Chris Waller too.
Definitely got to make
Glencairn Gold is now $3.70 favourite. It's not you too, Shark, by the way.
I'm more concerned about putting the microphone because they put a little bit of tape on the microphone onto my chest.
For mine, $6 right there. In that last spot we'll talk about with Alco Pop, Einstein, Mudra, Sabraj lining up for that. Tammy's on the same list there, but why don't you go to the Geelong Cup? It's the Melbourne Cup. Different here because you've got Mount Athos and Glencairn Gold at the top of the markets.
You know what you're more up to date with a lot of these Europeans. Were you surprised, Shark, with Nick Williams' comments last week about Mount Athos, what they thought of him?
Yes. He's a very good horse, and he's coming right at the right time. He's been well placed. He's been set to qualify.
I thought it asked more questions than it answered. There's only one thing that I'm convinced of, and I don't think it's news to anyone in Australia. European stayers are superior to our stayers here as a group, and they will play a massive part over the next few weeks in racing. And given yesterday's results, I think I will be taking a few European horses to win the Melbourne and Caulfield Cup, perhaps.
It was certainly an ominous warning, European stayers. Simon, we might go to you here because you had a runner there in the Herbert Power Stakes that I think it's fair to say didn't have a great deal of luck.
No, it wasn't a lot of luck. Would have liked a little bit more room there at stages to give him a chance to find the line. But I agree with what Richard said earlier. You know, you just can't underestimate the facts of the facts over the last 3 or 4 years. These European stayers are superior. I think that win yesterday. His form was good coming in. He'd been in the pre-Kergolay, which American won leading into the Melbourne Cup. And so there's a handful of races over there that they meet the same horses, and a lot of those horses are here. Shawadi's one of them. He's a genuine Melbourne Cup chance.
I agree. Some very smart punters like that horse yesterday.
He ran well in the Kergolay.
Yeah,
which is the thick race for French stayers coming here.
This horse started $15. He paid $9 on every tote. And he was $20 on every tote when the last horse moved into the barrier. So some very astute form students have won a lot of money on him. I like him. I love an old horse that has a kill. I know they think that's not Melbourne Cup form. This horse is sure. There's nothing surer that he'll run well in the Melbourne Cup, if not saying that he can nearly win it.
I tell you what, I was enormously impressed with his run. I was also impressed with Simon's horse Gatewood there. You see him there, Corey Brown just got stuck in traffic and kept going backwards when everything else was going forwards. But, I hear a lot of people say,
Adam Gold for Jim Cassidy. December draw ticking over nicely. American worked here yesterday. This is the order of entry field. I've done it in the order of entry. So Southern Speed, wait and see what the barrier. Folding Gear runs American Junaden. Winchester, they'd love a firm price on the east. Einstein, Mudra and Sabrage. They run a field of 18. So if there's no further change in the next 48 hours, the Melbourne Racing Club Committee will decide 2 of those to make it, and 2 will be the next.
According to the betting. And Julius Barton, first up's got gate speed for David Thorne. Can't rule that pacer out. With Barrackey, all the rage here. Jason Taylor is the trainer. On next, and this is race 4, the Smart Barrackey. First up from the break, dominates the betting on track. Opened up short at $1.18, probably a little bit too short now at to $1.26. Right time out of 1.5 to 7.5. But looking forward to seeing this Smart customer return to the racetrack. Here's Darren McCauley.
Line about to be completed by Wolf Dreams. So can he make it 9 out of 9? We'll know shortly. Red lights are on. Open, they're off and racing. He got out okay, Barrackey, but right time and the entourage are gathering pace. Brown's pushing him hard. He's keen to lead on him. Barrackey driving through on the inside, and he will get there. He's going to go through, surging along the rails. Went to the front from right time. The entourage beaten for that early speed third, then hit the steel and started to fast when they head by the 500. It's Barrackey sneaking a length and a half to right time as they'd set sail for home. They pinched about 2.5. The entourage dropping off Hello Well Fever. Down on the fence behind those honest lies. Coming to the 300 though. Brown shakes up Barrackey. He extends. He's raced away by 2 lengths to right time. On the fence, the entourage is starting to run on pretty well, but Barrackey is well clear. 100 metres to go. Brown has a look to the left and the right. Honest Lies is running on. He's going to push him out, and it's 9 in a line for Barrackey. Barrackey has won it from Honest Lies, running on well to grab second from the entourage. Right time ran fourth. Meager. Barrackey gives the Jim Taylor Jason Brown combination a winning double for the day. That's one that they would have loved.
King a miler, isn't it?
Barrackey did what Piero couldn't do yesterday, and that's make it 9 starts for 9 wins.
Yeah, Jim Taylor's been thrilled with the way this horse has come back, and yesterday Barrackey was at its very best. It's heading off towards the Colonel Reeves and that Winterbottom Stakes where it couldn't meet with buffering during the summer carnival. But as they come around the bend here, Barrackey, Jason Brown in a perfect position, steps away. Really excited about seeing this horse during the Perth Summer Carnival.
He's going for 300 though. Round shakes.
Mick Kent, it's a maiden on debut at 400 metres. It's already in the paddock. It's an outstanding performance, and I'll tell you a bit more about it. When do you see it coming in?
200 took over and burst to the front. Emily's from the back running on well. High Shots got to the outside and running home fast when it's all over. Rockenly in front. High Shots eating up the ground. Went to in one stride, took the lead, and there's Class with a capital C.
Well, 600,000 is a yearling. It was lot 1 of the sales. I remember watching the sales online there, and there was Mick. Got in first crack at it, lot 1, 600,000. Been patient with him. He's in the paddock already. Autumn next year for him. He's a black booker for a long way out. High Shot.
I hadn't seen, wasn't watching the Cranbourne races live, but later in the night, you're flicking through the phone and Twitter, and everyone's talking about High Shot. So I sat up to watch the replay. It was worth sitting up for. He's a fantastic looking horse, and just given his head there, he just went through the gears with such ease. He was grabbed a hold of as well.
I reckon we saw a serious horse on Friday night. First started by High Chaparral, trained by Mick Kent, called High Shot. I think people are happy that he's going for a spell because this is a serious horse in the autumn here in the checkered colours with the nose roll. Have a look at this horse, High Shot, a $600,000 Karaka purchase.
He's from the back running on well. High Shot's got to the outside and running home fast when it's all over. Rocketly in front. High Shot's leading up the ground. Went to in one stride, took the lead. And there's Class with a capital C. He's going somewhere. Second goes to Rock.
I think Terry Bailey's right, and no wonder you were tweeting about that until well into the night on Friday evening, right?
Oh, that was an exciting win. He's a serious racehorse. That you don't see that often. When you see it, you take notice.
You tweeted, apparently.
Feature race coming up here, the Schweppes 1,000 Guineas, Group 1 for the fillies. Great honour roll of winners of Classic. Here's the betting market for this race via the tote, and on course, the favourite is the South Australian visitor, Malte Bene, but you can make many a case for these. It's a tremendous Caulfield Cup on the weekend from, of course, Jimmy and his quote to the media after they found the outside barrier draw in the Caulfield Cup, he said,
And you thought there was going to be an avalanche, but now it's gone back to 11. Longport's 10 and solid. Mama's Choice 31. Commanding Jewel's 8 out to 10. 8 out to 10 for Commanding Jewel. Now we get down to number 9, Malte Bene. This is your favourite on track now. It opened up $4.60. It's now out to $5. Big Chill is 26. 8 to 11 for Love for a Ransom. So no interest in her today. Stella.
That'll be a great race.
these paddock gates that we see them going into now. We'll talk about that shortly as we talk about the Gate Woodhouse application for PRO. Atlantic Jewel beat Mosheen and Shani Rose last year. Yoso
Bene jumped fairly well. Now, Dear Demi snagged at the start, comes over their heels in the early part. Lady of Harrods have jumped away well, but they're looking for something to come across. And here's Longport, who's going forward from an outside barrier, and Exciter's fired up very wide. They're going up towards the lead, and maybe Discreeta's up there as well. And as they settle down, Big Chill is going to posse up fourth on the rail. 2 lengths to Lady of Harrods over on the inside of Commanding Jewel. A length and a half further back in the field then. Lengths away from the leader. 2 lengths to Balaclava Lady, Dear Demi, Zydeco. They're followed by Mama's Choice and Lazuma as last. Inside the 800 metres and Longport the leader. Exciter's running second, a neck away. Big Chill a length and a half back, and then Maybe Discreet nicely poised on fourth on the outside, followed by Love for Ransom, and then Lady of Harrods, Commanding Jewel, Members Joy. Delolante buried away on the inside, followed by Malte Bene. Then Balaclava Lady, Mediterranean, Dear Demi buried back on the inside from Zydeco as they swing the turn, and then Mama's Choice and Lazuma. It's Longport going for home around the turn from Exciter's Big Chill. Here's now Maybe Discreet starting to finish off well. Commanding Jewel looking for a run through. Love for Ransom down the outside. Longport at the 200, still a length and a half. Here's Commanding Jewel winding up. Ollie sends Commanding Jewel to the lead, and she dashes 2 lengths in front. Zydeco flashing home, but Commanding Jewel. Ollie for the 5th time wins it by 2 or 3. They've lined up for the minors. Zydeco, Dear Demi who bursts through. Delolante not far off, and Longport. Behind those to finish in the race then was Big Chill. Being followed then Members Joy, disappointingly. Possibly not her right form here. She hasn't finished the race off at all last in.
It's a Group 1 ride by Group 1 champion jockey in Damien Oliver as he peels off the back of Tempo here to nail a brilliant victory for Commanding Jewel. Absolutely decisive in the end, as Greg said. Off a week of drama for Oliver. Leon Corson sticks by him, knows the champ can deliver, and away he does. That's
Give also 10 out of 10 to the right, Dear Demi from Jimmy Cassidy. Snagged it back, got it over the inside, picked his way through, and has got up and run second. Zydeco is going to be better at runs third, and fourth in Longport, who did a
terrific. Well, you knew what was happening over the weekend with the jockey situation. You never had a second thought, did you?
No, definitely not. Look, he's the best rider in Australia, so why would I have second thoughts?
He's been with this horse, and you synergy in all these wins. We'll get to Brad shortly. We'll try and chat to some of the connections here. Come on in here.
We just had to use her a bit more than we would have liked, but settling probably a spot further back, she really showed a great kick today.
It was awesome, wasn't it? Acceleration was there, and she let down like
great kick.
Must be pleased. Leon's second solid. I mean, there's been a tough week for you, but Leon said, nah, he's riding it.
Yeah, I can't thank Leon enough. There wasn't a better looking horse in the yard, and he's having a great run. He's a great trainer, and I'd like to thank Leon and all these owners, particularly Brad.
For the three-quarter sister of the previous winner, Atlantic Jewel, who's a superstar. Commanding Jewel, just very well done to Brad Spicer and the team with this horse, Leon, and of course, Damien Oliver. Brilliant ride.
9 days ago, I had the pleasure of being a guest speaker at the Mirabelle Foundation.
Pressure over the last week, but Leon Corstens was more than happy to have him on. Damien Oliver, Commanding Jewel, three-quarter sister to Atlantic Jewel, who won that race back in 2011, last year, Richard.
Well, that was a not so thinly veiled crack at the people who took him off horses after that controversy about the alleged $10,000 bet broke. So Damien answered him in the only way Damien knows how, is to ride a great race on this filly. Beautifully prepared filly, agree with him on that. And, you know, he did ride a great race. And one thing we said about Damien Oliver on this show last week, whatever happens with Damien off track virtually has no effect at all on him on track. I mean, any person who could have ridden the 2002 Melbourne Cup under the pressure and the things that were going on off the track at that time has proven that it has no effect on him. So he rode a great race there. Look, runs of the race, Dear Demi, no doubt about it. Ronnie, you can go through her run, and Zydeco. They were both great trials for longer races.
I'd say so. That's the form probably for the Wakeful and the Oaks. Dear Demi, it was a great ride from Cassidy until she got stopped in her tracks just on the point of the turn there, and she lost all momentum. So he couldn't do anything about it. She's probably the filly for the Wakeful if she gets a fast run race, because she's not so adaptable in slowly run races. She can grab the bit and charge. She looked lethal there when they go along. And Zydeco looks the Oaks filly, doesn't she? She's just got Stayer written all over, and she'll perform well. In the Wakeful as well. But I want to back Dear Demi in the Wakeful and Zydeco in the Oaks.
Okay, well, Commanding Jewel's gone to the paddock. Leon Corstens tipped her straight out after her win on Wednesday.
Bell here, Shane.
Yep, 420 now, 480 into to 6, out to 20.
The money continues for Jamando here, Shane.
Yep, 420 now, 480 into 420. Has been the best back.
Circle attendants in, and away they go. Cabayan jump reasonably along the rails in company with Havastana Norris, and Jamando jump well going up to be a part of the lead, and Right to Rome is being sooled along now after jumping reasonably. He's being hunted to be part of the speed as they settle down. It's Cabayan at the 1600. Right to Rome wide out is going up to challenge him, and Jamando Williams says, thank you very much. I'll take a lovely trail here just behind them. But the side, Right to Rome by a length, Costa Nova, Cabayan on the fence, and Jamando fourth, 600 to go. Then Honorius Havastan with some work to do for Bossy, and Subiaso Electric Fusion the last two. Right to Rome coming up towards the home turn. He has the lead. 400 left to go from Costa Nova. Cabayan looking for the way clear. Nash waiting and waiting. Is the gap going to come for him? Jamando was under the whip of Vastan, trying to get a little gap to come through. Now with 200 metres to go, right across the track, Electric Fusion and Honorius are coming. Havastan's got through, Cabayan's got up. It's Electric Fusion with momentum out wide. Havastan coming at him. Vastan's getting up to Electric Fusion. These are the two down to the line. Havastan lifted by Bossy and Electric Fusion. Nothing in that. With Honorius between them, third a good run. Subiaso was next over the line in fourth placing, followed by Cabayan. The gap came.
It's Caulfield Cup. They have a look at these. Warilla and Bossy going for the same run. Havastan gets the run, gets the win. Enormous run, Electric Fusion. What a bright future he's got. Honorius will get third here. The head-on's going to be very, very interesting to see how this pans out. What a day for the Galligatus boys. There's Manny in the front, the shot there, and this means more than money and victory. This means sentiment and family and heart for the Galligatus boys.
Sure does, Bruce. Wonderful.
Very much so, Bruce. It's been an emotional week, mate. You know, I just wish they could have hung on for the next couple of weeks to have seen us get to the Derby, regardless of the result. He's a passionate racing man.
And Manny Galligatus, got you, Manny.
Yeah, you're a champion. I love this race.
The Galligatus boys from Maui. They've got the Golden Hen chicken shop down there at Maui. So if you're on Maui Way, make sure. I'll show you some scenes shortly. But Trace, big offer on the table for this horse for Havastan. I think we're talking about $2 million. That puts us. Have a look at how tight it gets in here. Willing and able. And as Bossy said, we're not out there mucking around. And Havastan, good job. It's a done deal. Is obviously the benchmark staying 3-year-old right now, Shark. But this batch heading that way.
Peter and Manning, nice horse, deserves a crack at the Derby. He's right in there, like it's all revolving around. It's a done deal at the moment, whether he's in one piece, but he's right there snapping at their heels, and he got the job done well yesterday. I still like this horse, Honorius. I reckon he's a real Derby type. That'll toughen him up. He was between runners here.
Stakes, and this has been sensationally backed in the last 24 hours. Talking about King's Rose into odds on here on course.
Action. All right, this is the fifth. We're at the halfway point of the day. Let's go up to the broadcast point now to Greg Miles.
Well, thanks, Shane. The next one to get set here is Whatever, Whenever, and Taggers lined in. And McClintock bounded out and led easily in the early part, landed in front, renewed vitality quickly to second. The stablemate Taggers driving on to sit outside the leader. Mr. Milton lands in Fax last. So McClintock led Taggers coming around the turn. A length and a half, Mr. Milton. On the rails, renewed vitality. King's Rose peels out around Happy Zero as they cornered, and then came Whatever, Whenever, and Galar hard at it. Into the straight, and McClintock, the winner of this race 3 years ago, leads by a length and a half. Here's Mr. Milton coming on. King's Rose, she didn't corner all that well. She's coming up the middle of the track. McClintock, 150 to go. Still in front, a wall of horses chasing. Whatever, Whenever's getting out and charging. It's McClintock, Whatever, Whenever. King's Rose on the outside, but Whatever, Whenever got it by a head to King's Rose, and McClintock might hold third, although weakening late. Up there, Happy Zero finished off, and Galar late. Mr. Milton just Peter.
Plenty of punters out there in the public saying exactly that right now. Whatever, whenever. And they've got a result here. 13, whatever, whenever for Craig Williams, dives through and nails King.
And same with King's Road. King's Road, she had to come out and come around them, so she had to cover it a bit more.
Sensational from the front for the old boy, who's it's a great story, his story.
With the exception of King's Rose, who has pretensions to be a Group 1, particularly in Mare's company now.
Well, she's Group 1. She should have went past them here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, I think they're Group 3 horses. I think it was right. That's what that was, a Group 3 race. And I think those horses are Group 3 horses. And at kept at that level, they'll be competitive if they step.
Caulfield and
260,000 for it, so it's going to be, I'd say, maybe another zero and then maybe multiplied.
Right, you better get back down there so I can hear something else out there. The sixth race. Of course, next race kicks into the quaddie, the David Jones Cup. And of course, that is the scratching of Shawan there. So.
And down near the inside, How Much Do You Love Me began fairly well. Canali got away quickly, and Alta bounced away quickly, and so did Curtana. But How Much Do You Love Me has sufficient speed to go up and hold the lead. Out in front of, in second place in Canali with Alta, 3 deep and running third. Thank God You're Here getting up behind them into fourth placing. Trailed Latin News and then Curtana. Free Return stands out. Metallurgical, Midsummer Music and Green Birdie coming to the 500. How Much Do You Love Me led by a length. Running second is in second placing a length away Canali. And then Thank God You're Here waiting on a run. Alta niggled at, and then came Latin News and Curtana as they sweep around the turn. How Much Do You Love Me led by a length and a half into the straight now. From Canali trying to give chase. Alta's third under pressure, and then Thank God You're Here. Coming down the outside is Curtana. How Much Do You Love Me? Out by 2 lengths, holds them safely at the moment. Nothing making sufficient ground. Canali's boxing on, but How Much Do You Love Me? By 2 lengths. Second, Canali. Photo third, Latin News. Bob might grab it from Alta. And then Curtana, Midsummer Music, and Free Return. Thank God You're Here weekend.
Well, what an exciting horse he is. What an exciting prospect he is. What a great story he is. With a name like that for a price of just $5,000 to be go to the races and only be beaten once. He just controlled that race. Walked around the corner and dashed home. Big, strong fella that he is. He'll be off to Flemington now. It'll be an exciting story. So much similarity to the Takeover Target story into where he's been and where he might go to. The Salinger awaits. Con Caracassanis. What a beauty.
And there's another 5.
It's it all in his stride. He gets a little bit hot before the race and went down to the start early, but then...
He is unbeaten for Bratton. Horse's career is 5 out of 6, but 5 out of 5 for B. Abdallah. It will be a good story. He's cost us $5 grand. What's happened to us? Ring us up and ask us, Rich. We're going to somehow flum 5.
I agree. Brenton, the one thing like we saw him at
He's probably the most gifted animal. He's probably the most gifted animal I've ridden, as in galloping wise. But it's just really exciting to see what he could possibly do once he gets it all together.
And he's got plenty of improvement to come.
Definitely. He's been in
24 hours, but already there's a lot of comparisons with Takeover Target, who won the Ramornie Handicap, went to Melbourne, and of course won the Salinger Stakes. How good is he? How much do you love me?
It's hard to put a gauge on him because he's just at this stage of his preparation, he's just running on raw ability, and he's still growing. Like he's 17 one hands at the moment at 600 kilos, and he's just he's still really he's got no idea what it's all about, and like even when he got to the
Phil sprint. Now, Andrew, anything more on the sprints?
No, that was the story. How much do you love me? I think the others behind tried hard. Canali was sitting right up on the pace, but clearly the winner is the story.
And that's interesting to hear Brent Abdallah sort of say, look, he peaked at about the 150.
Yeah.
They weren't taking any ground off him at the end, so
he just kept going.
He adjusts to Flemington going up the straight. We might see something very, very good.
It'll be a strong race, the Salinger. It'll be a good test.
Island's out in the track. We've had 6 races. Want to get a track update from Sam? Up to a good
day, and ever so slight bit of headwind as you come into the straight, but they're doing a little bit of marking and divoting, but not much at all. It's still firm underfoot. There's good.
All set. Favourite barrier 1 in red and white. They're racing now. Light of the Night jumps away well, missing it terribly. He's done this before. Waterford Hill, he's missed it by 4 lengths. Prairie Star got away okay. He posies around midfield down on the inside. Moores Creek Star back on the fence as they go by the 800 metres, and then Bagman and Pacino. Dame Clear leads down the side, about a length and a half. Waterford Hill is going around the outside quickly for Newitt and gets up within about a neck of the lead. 600 to go. Moores Creek goes with them in the middle, and they put the pressure on a fair way out. 2 lengths to Extra Zero. Light of the Night down on the inside, still with something to offer as they swing the corner, and then Prairie Star as they swing around the turn now. Dame Clear joined by Moores Creek. Waterford Hill there with Extra Zero coming on with a run. Light the Night now has to wait. There's no run for the favourite. Looking for a gap. Williams pushing it through now. Extra Zero deep out. Prairie Stars coming up the middle of the course. Light the Night getting going. Bagman from Wellbeck's coming through now. They stretch across the track. Light the Night sitting top gear with Bagman. They've gone to the lead together. Light the Night responds and wanted ahead to Bagman. A length to Extra Zero. Prairie Star might get 4th from Dame Clear. Moores Creek next over from Pacino. Waterford.
But do you don't want it over again, do you, Planners? Boy, gee, it was hard work for the favourite there, Light in the Night, but it doesn't matter.
He's done enough to win.
We've seen this happen a few times. A length to Extra.
Well, you haven't got to tell them how you got there, as long as you got there, and that's what happened. The favourite home there, Light in the Night for 2,000 metres, first time for Rip, and was on the champion thoroughbreds. The overhead shot here shows how tight that was and how willing. It was a competitive day riding at the yesterday, Breton, wasn't it?
Yeah, all these big days there and the big races. That's when the cream rise, and it's very competitive.
Stakes, Mulsheen, an easing favourite here. If short price on the top, but very much easing with the bookmakers on course.
Yard 13 into 10.
So have we, Bruce? Do we know what?
Stindwala Rucci, if that means something to your sweeps around the country.
Metres. Remember how slow, and Raspberry's a bit slow in the early part of the race. Streamer pinged away from out wide, goes up to Pierre Tart. Miss Delabelle had bounced out well and had the lead as they settle fully. It's Miss Delabelle being pressed on the outside by Streamer, who wants the lead. She's working hard but finds it. Pierre Tart second now, Miss Delabelle eased to third, and Machine got over beautifully. She's 4th, and then Red Tracer 50 inside the 800. Streamer out in front today, half a length clear to Pierre Tart. A length and a half Machine running third over on the outside. She's out 3 wide now, and then Miss Delabelle. High Bell, Red Tracer pushing up in the middle, followed by Appearance as they neared the turn, and then Shannara and Soft Sand in that awkward place, which she always seems to find herself towards the end on the rails. Coming up towards the turn, High Bell's on an early move 4 wide with Machine on her inside. They go to Pierre Tart. Streamer trying to respond on the rail. Red Tracer right behind them trying to find a way through. In the straight now, Machine race to Streamer, who has a bit of a kick, and then Pierre Tart, Miss Delabelle. Soft Sand trying to get up on the inside. Streamer, what a kick. It's a big kick with 100 to go. She's drawn in front of Miss Delabelle. Pierre Tart coming back, but Streamer in front and wins. Streamer first. Second, Pierre Tart, either Red Tracer out wide, who finished well, or Miss Delabelle for the minors. Soft Sand just off them, and Machine really weak in the last bit. Followed then by New Beginning. Appearance in. Big win this by a quality mare and Streamer. Bring on the Maya Classic for her. $11 back into $10. Did a stack of work early. Was there to be beaten and defies them in the run home. I might be struggling to beat her on what we've seen there.
She was absolutely outstanding. That was a great win, Sam.
Second, Pierre Tart.
Oh, great stuff there for Streamer. Huey Bowman, positive ride there. Good mare, well placed. Set herself up now for the $1 million Maya Classic, where most of these will be going. Rich, she's a quality mare. Great to see her come to Melbourne and bring that form that we've seen often in Sydney.
Well, like I was surprised, it was a very good ride. He didn't muck around here when there was a little bit of indecision from a few early. He went bang and put her up on top of the speed. We know how good she is, and he got
Run for me, Rich. She's the horse I want to fight like she was going to be in trouble there. Streamer, I totally underestimated her from that wide gate. I thought, well, she's going to have to cover ground. But you forget about the early days of her career. She was rolling forward and giving a really good kick at that trip. So, yeah, I think a few punters did too, because she got out to a really good double figure price for a mare of her ability.
Sure did.
Good for them, and as Hugh Bowman said, she goes to the mire in very good form.
Oh, she's it was a great performance, and a particularly good one from Hugh. That mare jumped from an outside gate, and he had to burn a bit of fuel to get across and get in front. But then he was able to pull up, and he really pulled up in their faces too, because I think if we look at the tape, we can roll it back to where we picked it up. If you look at the horse at the back of the field, right? I'm sure we're at the right spot if you just roll tape. You can see horses at the back of the field starting to get on heels. Maybe it was just a little bit before that, but here they are. They're all getting on heels here now because he slowed them right up. They're all trying to go forward into a dead end. And then he lets it slide, Ronnie, and that's where he won the race, when he quickened at the right time.
I've been saying for months now, this bloke's at the top of his game, Bowman, and he's just his judge of speed over the last 6 months or so. Is just in races, he's just second to none. I think he's the best rider in Australia. He makes a move, he makes a decision like that. No one expected that filly to lead yesterday, or that mare to lead yesterday, but he jumped out the barrier. He knew how fast they were going. He made a decision, and not only did he slow them up, but he knew that he had to quicken a little bit earlier as well to get her into her rhythm, rather than trying to make a sprint off the spot. She'll be very hard to beat, and she handles all conditions. So I'd rather see her on dead or better, because if we get a real wet track come the mire, this pair Tart's an absolute swimmer and an underrated mare as well, and as is Red Tracer. But Guy Wilder's sense of timing is going to come to the fore again, I'd suggest. He's just a master at it.
Yeah, certainly he gave Hugh Bowman a 10 out of 10 for the initiative that he showed. When she jumped so quickly, Simon, they just...
All the riders in this year's BMW Caulfield Cup have just been introduced to the crowd here for the big field, for the BMW Caulfield Cup. Oh, please. There's the totes for the BMW Caulfield Cup. Sydney comes later. That's the 58. But this is a different era when we're looking at the history of races and winning a Caulfield Cup with 52 a mile and a half in Hong Kong, and win an international Group 1 weight for age race, winning the Vase over there. He's had a good preparation for this. Craig Williams rode him Monday morning. All were happy. Again, he'll need luck from the
The two at the top of the market, Glencaddam Gold and December Draw.
Most vantage points taken here, Sammy, right down there on that way. So they're all well behaved down there, but they are close to the action, aren't they?
Yeah, they're right on it. And it's obviously that has an effect on some horses. Can obviously with the crowd, the crowd all the way around to the home turn there. So you can see. And as I say, some horses can get a bit wound up.
Miles.
Behind Glencaddam Gold, one from the outside, standing in. They're all set. And they're racing. Glencaddam Gold jumps away well. Dunedin immediately snagged. While Easy began fast, so did Lights of Heaven. Folding gear to the inside, got away quickly. Secret Admirer's up there early as well. Glencaddam Gold is making a beeline very wide out to go up to join While Easy. December Draws inside of them. And Secret Admirer is going to posse fourth at the turn out of the straight. My Quest for Peace is right behind them on the rails as Glencaddam Gold goes to the lead. Jackleberry outside, Lights of Heaven and Zabillionaire's on the rails. A length and a half further back is Sneaker Peak, out a little bit wide there from Sanegas, who's over on the rails as they go by the 2,000 metres, and Folding Gear in the middle. 1.5 American being followed by Niwot, Mudra, Alcopop, Dunedin, Winchester. Sabridge brings up the rear, 1,500 to go, and Glencaddam Gold had the lead. A length and a half, Weiler Essie second, December Draw. Third over on the inside, Secret Admirer's fourth, My Quest for Peace, fifth the fence. Then came Jackleberry. He's followed Zabillionaire over on the inside as they climb up the hill towards the 1,200 metres on the halfway mark. Lights of Heaven in the middle, a length and a half, Sneaker Peak, Folding Gear, Sanegas, worse in midfield, the rail. American Deep, followed by Niwot, a length and a half further back as Alco Pop and Mudra. Then Dunedin on the inside of Winchester, and Sabridge is last. 1,000 metres to go, and Glencaddam Gold had the lead. He's a length in front. While Easy running second, December Draw third, Secret Admirer's fourth, Jackleberry's been wide. My Quest for Peace over on the inside's had a good run. One further back, Lights of Heaven, being followed by Sneaker Peak, Zabillionaire, the rail, and then Folding Gear, American and Sanegas, Niwot.
followed by Alco Pop, Mudra, Dunedin, well back with Winchester, and Sabridge last. 600 to go in the Cup now. Glencairn Gold, the leader, almost a length on Easy. December Draws working into it well. My Quest for Peace getting up on the inside, and then Secret Admirer, Lights of Heaven, Sneaker Peak, and Zillionaire nowhere to go. Glencairn Gold leads, December Draws after him. My Quest for Peace comes through in the middle, and then Secret Admirer, Zillionaire, and Alco Pop down the outside. 200 to go. My Quest for Peace hit the lead. Alco Pop winds up. Alco Pop charges to the lead there with 150 to go. Here's Dunedin and American coming. Alco Pop in front of the 100, but Dunedin swallows him up. Cup winner, back to win the Caulfield Cup from Alco Pop. Lights of Heaven might grab third. From My Quest for Peace, American home. And then Folding Gears, a billionaire. They're followed further back in the field then by Sanagas, Secret Admirer, Winchester. Behind them then Sneaker Peak, Jekyllberry, Mudra, Nywood, and further back is Glencairn Gold. December Draw, Sobridge back towards the end, and One Easy last home.
Class and all class here. Dunedin, the superior stayer. It took Alco Pop to split the world's best champions in stayers here in America. And outstanding Alco Pop. But Dunedin, patient ride by Williams, sweeps into it with clear momentum. And he wins now a Melbourne Cup back into a Caulfield Cup. And he and also American head to Flemington now, heading a magnificent bunch of internationals in the Cup. Did a task on Wednesday when you drew barrier 22, but you still thought you had the right horse, Jeffrey.
This horse is remarkable. He does remarkable things. You know, he's broken records today with the first allocated top weight ever to win the Caulfield Cup in how many years? 150 years? He's just extraordinary. But he is just since he's been at Werribee, and that is the difference. The horse is just, I think he hates France and loves Australia. So fantastic.
Now let's spare a thought for Jake Stevens with Alco Pop. How stiff's he been? 3 years since he probably would have won a Caulfield Cup. He's got him to his peak. He's swept to the front halfway down the straight, and he's been beaten by one of the best stayers in the world and a monster ride from Craig Williams.
And that's exactly nothing better than winning races like this, but even to enjoy horses that you just got such a great affinity with, and also people around that just make it even that more special.
Sheikh Farhad
touched on fantastic Caulfield Cup Carnival, another one, and capped off by an incredible Caulfield Cup. We all knew how good it was with almost a dozen Group 1 winners in the field. Switching's obviously Southern Speed, we lost one, but the international flavour and an absolute champion to win the race, fantastic. Craig Williams, you had to be a magician.
The BMW Caulfield.
Which one to show? Show Jeffrey.
That book was just priceless. It's very good. Cracked on 400 coming up, and when you picked out this number,
It was 4, 19 and 22.
Horse, yes. Here we go.
Yeah, Mrs. Faber wasn't very happy with me when she said, "Don't ever do that again."
And here's what Jeffrey.
What about the strut? The strut, yeah, I mean,
Richard, hang on. Here's what Jeffrey said afterwards. Glencairn Gold stuff. So you can win the Caulfield Cup from the outside barrier?
Yes, of course you can.
Good luck to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Of course you can. You wanted 22, didn't you?
Yeah,
You didn't want
exactly,
4 or
mate.
19.
Yeah, good a price, didn't we?
Everyone's sporting chance.
Of course, you'll go to the Melbourne Cup with no penalty. Straight away. Can he?
See, there is some free handicap horses. There's a precedent of not getting a penalty, but it won't be said again. You cop one, wouldn't you?
Yes. We'll have to, don't we?
Exactly. I think so. Listen to, just tell me with Craig Williams. I heard him this morning talking. He was on Melbourne radio this morning, and he sounded as though the commitment wasn't as firm for Dunedin in a Melbourne Cup if Green Moon, who he rides in the Cox Plate, was able to win impressively and run there. Is he, as far as you're concerned?
As far as I know, he's locked in.
You have to go to court and get this sorted out. You can't go to the stewards and get it sorted out.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Jeffrey, the horse's attitude yesterday, he's
Pop charges to the lead now with 150 to go. Here's Dunedin and American coming. Alco Pop in front of the 100, but Dunedin swallows him up. In the Melbourne Cup winner, comes back to win the Caulfield Cup.
It's just Williams back to back, first jockey since Sullivan to do that. Paris Lane Doremus some time ago, and he gets up to almost 7 million in prize money. We'll throw it in, we'll chip in for Dunedin to get the 7 million there.
Well, Bruce, as Jeffrey walked up on stage on Wednesday for the barriers, Dunedin was $7.50 and $8 across the board. $14, $16 you could have had yesterday.
And he also broke 12 the furlong, and here he is nailing down Alco Pop, who was home for the cheerers.
And Jeffrey's in. It's a great story. Dunedin win the Melbourne Cup, come back to win the Caulfield Cup, but no, I was a little Aussie battler myself, like Shark and I, not you, Clarkie, but obviously Jake Stevens and the team, that would have just...
To her after the race on Alcopop before we move on to America, and he was just gallant in defeat. That's what he's, and he was a gentleman afterwards. He said, "We were beaten by the best 1.5-mile horse in the world. I couldn't have done anything more." And he said, "I tried the best I could. The horse put his heart and soul into it. And what more could you ask at a Caulfield Cup?" But look at him. He tried all the way to the line, Alcopop.
Briganton.
Probably a query.
Briganton. He's the horse. Yeah, he is the horse. At all known form around us being Dunadan at level weights, he's got us cold in Melbourne Cup. Absolutely got us cold.
At the weights.
At the weights. The weights.
With a penalty.
Us being Dunadan at level weights, he's got us cold in Melbourne Cup. Absolutely got us cold.
At the weights.
At the weights. The weights.
With a penalty.
Briganton brings his A game, as you call it here.
That's a big thing.
He's got two ways of running. He either wins or he's out the back. But at Werribee, I've been out there 3 days a week ever since I got here. He's the one that's riding as we were.
These horses might be heading, or if heading anywhere.
He turned up 110% today. He was only 95 last week. We knew he still had gas in the tank, and it took a good horse to beat him.
Yeah, you had to go early. You got going with your lightweight, and you tried to drag out of him.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like coming to the corner before straightening, there was nothing really sucking me into the race. I was on the back of American, got on the back of Bossy, Sneaker Pete. We were going better than anything, and at the time I knew Dunedin was behind me. So I had to make the decision then with my weight to make him chase hard with his 58. We did for a fleeting moment there. I probably thought I was nearly home, but the best 1.5-mile horse in the world got the job done.
I'm very pleased with him. He make me a great feeling, a huge effort on the street after a long run like that. It doesn't race for a couple of months. That's gonna improve him a lot. I don't give him a too hard race to make sure that something will left, and he will improve after that for the big day.
Did you turn it?
I'm overall happy with him. I got a couple of cheap sectionals, nice tempo without being silly, and I was pretty much coming off the bit 600 from home.
What does that tell you going forward now for him?
Don't know. Probably back to the drawing board, see how he pulls up. It might be something a little miss, but they'll probably work that out once he cools down. But I really couldn't find anything. Travelled nice enough, but come off the bit 600 from home.
Yeah, broke well and had a nice run, but at the end of the day, he just didn't stay. You know, he travelled up lovely, got out at the right time. Couldn't have asked for anything to go any better for me, but unfortunately, he just doesn't have the stamina for a tough 1.5-mile race.
Yeah, got
to. Yeah, there's the latest sporting bet market here. We've got obviously Manigar out, Valarici, doubtfuls of Seville's out, Glencadam Gold out, doubtful, unusual suspect Mudra, Prairie Star. Briganton right on the cusp here with Shawadi. So
Shawadi's not in there yet, is it?
No.
Red Condone, Michael Rod's now confirmed after December draw.
Correct.
His manager, Johnny Shell, was straight on the phone.
We've got 14 here. This is not in any order. Piero. For us here, went very well Thursday morning, last Thursday, when we went over to Moonee Valley. Now, I think guys are going to take more Joyce there on Tuesday on the list we've seen. There's no Piero. Speaking to her yesterday, she didn't think she needed to take Piero or Prasia there.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I can only concur with everything that's said about Dunedin. He's just a beautiful thoroughbred. And what sort of penalty will he get into the Melbourne Cup? I'm sure there will be a penalty, but he looks to me like he could carry another kilo or kilo and a half and still win a Melbourne Cup. He's just in flying form and a sensational racehorse.
I thought at the weights he had more chance of winning the Caulfield Cup than he did the Melbourne Cup when they came out. I thought yesterday was his day. He's going to find it a lot tougher at Flemington. Over 2 miles, carrying more than 58 now.
Yeah.
All weights and measures say, look, Americane's going to finish in front of us. And another horse, Briganton. You can't beat him at the weights. We just can't. Over 2 miles. So, but you've got a very special horse that's in form.
And the factor that goes into
might have summed it up with December draw, Ronnie.
Yeah, I think so. He was the first horse beaten there after perfect ride, I'd have to say.
There was another one that was probably in that category too, first horse beaten, Glencadam Gold.
Yeah, look, I don't like saying it after the race, but he was the greatest false favourite I've ever seen in the Caulfield Cup. He'd never been in a pressure race. He's a talented horse, but he hadn't been anything like this field, and for him to start favourite, it's just still a mystery to me.
You can't blame the barrier. Was there more to it than that?
No, there's more to it than that. He's a front runner, and look, he did a bit of work to get there, but he didn't. He was gone a long way out. Look, you've got to give this.
Well, hang on. Every horse on the pace ended up near the tail, virtually. Wala Easy, always. And it was a pretty hot race.
Oh, look, well, the overall time wasn't fast.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because it did look like a pressure race.
Usually tell the tale.
Yeah.
And it's not as if they've broken any world records there.
Yeah. What about Alco Pop? He's got a new lease on life. Where does he come from, this preparation? What? He's just popped out of nowhere, Alco Pop.
Well, it was expected. He started second or third favourite there. He started $12.
Yeah,
you know,
I know.
You've got to give him credit and his connections credit. He's run the race of his life there. You can't deny him. He was beaten by an absolute champion there.
There's one horse finished not much better than midfield, but his sectionals were very good. Winchester. Winchester ran home in
very good 2 mile
sectionals.
run. Very good 2 mile run, wasn't it? You know, he's the first 10 horse in a Melbourne Cup. Whether he can win one, I'm not so sure. But he was an eye catcher late, wasn't he?
The world's greatest racehorse, Frankel, is about to step out onto the racecourse for what could be his final run in the Kipco Champion Stakes, the British Champions Middle Distance race.
His final race of a career we'll never, ever forget. Game of 14 out of 14, having seen his form franked in such spectacular manner by Celebration.
Champion Stakes. Final leg of the British Champions Middle Distance Group 1. 10 furlongs, they're off and racing. Frankel slow away. Has dwelt and just required pushing into the bridle for the early stages. And as such, he's lost the Bullet Train at the front, who's having a look round Ian Mongan to see where Frankel is. And now Tom Queally faces a dilemma. Having slept in the stalls, how close does he move? At this early stage, Cirrus Zegler goes forward. Bullet Train clearly being restrained in an attempt to try and get Frankel on his back. His rider looking round persistently. Nathaniel is in third place with Master of Hounds. A little bit of early drama with Frankel in fifth place, Sleeping coming out of the stalls, and Pastorius Houston's up the inside once more and trying to move to the rails. In third place is Nathaniel. Frankel keeping his powder dry, riding rather than chasing the pace, which has been picked up by Bullet Train, eyeballing Cirrus de Zegler as they make their way up inside the final 5. Nathaniel in third, Frankel in fourth, then Master of Hounds, and at the rear of the field is Pastorius. So out in front, Bullet Train leading and pressing on by a length or so now with half a mile to travel. From in second place, Cirrus de Zegler. Nathaniel is in third place. Frankel is in fourth with the pink cap and trying to move forward now into a challenging position. Master of Hounds and Pastorius as they move through with 3 furlongs to travel. Cirrus de Zegler corners in front from Nathaniel. Frankel pulls towards the outside. The pink cap, Tom Queally, beginning to try and close down. Cirrus de Zegler from Nathaniel. Frankel keeping closer, still being held together by Tom Queally. Cirrus de Zegler, Frankel moves alongside. Queally's finger poised on the button for one final electric burst. Frankel bidding to settle it. Cirrus de Zegler is making a fight of it on the far side. Frankel extends. Cirrus de Zegler is a worthy adversary, but up towards the line. All comers, all grounds, all beaten. Frankel won the Champion Stakes and lives up to the title. Cirrus de Zegler in second. Nathaniel is third. In fourth was Pastorius. Master of Hounds, and last of all, Bullet Train. Salute a racing great.
You have never heard anything like it. Unbelievable. The volume of crowd, the noise from the crowd was absolutely fantastic as Frankel has ended his career on an all-time high and running with 1 million other people to try and get a glimpse of him. He's not a great person for in-depth interviews. And as I speak, the roars are starting. It's absolutely amazing with Bullet Train, who's played a major, I know, a supporting role in this. And arms around each other, Ian Mongan and Tom Queally. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. He punches the air 3 times and he's within, 5, 10 yards of us now. Coming towards us here. I'm happy to be run over by Frankel. It'd be great to be crushed.
I'm sure this horse has been a wonderful tonic to him over the last 2 years or so. The 11-2 on favourite. He did a
keeping closer, still being held together. Finger poised on the button for one final electric burst. Frankel getting to settle it. Cirrus de Zegler is making a fight of it on the far side. Frankel extends. Cirrus de Zegler is a worthy adversary, but up towards the line. All comers, all grounds, all beaten. Frankel won the Champion Stakes and lives up to the title.
Great stuff. And there's a very frail, so Henry Cecil battling cancer, and a horse who goes off to stud now. It's a shame we don't get to see more of him, but the 14 times we did was fantastic.
He blew the start.
Like I think says his brother, that's the horse's brother, who The only sour thing for me is have a bullet train. He doesn't need a bullet train.
No, he doesn't.
When he blew the start, to have that other rider looking around for him, he didn't beat them anyway. Doesn't need that.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Incredible win. Another great performance, and he beat. You know, people say, "Oh, he was only a couple of lengths in front of Sirius Zagler," but he is the best wet track horse in the world. Sirius Zagler. You go back and look at his form, particularly his recent runs on heavy tracks in France. He's won by 10 lengths ahead on his chest. He's an incredible wet track horse. Frankel just. Okay, he didn't have that big booming, building speed that we've seen on dry ground. He won the race again, and he did it easily. He's a superstar. He's the best of the top.
Also, no do with a heavy thing.
Yeah, it's a little like a woolen patch there. Just a band.
Start when he goes to stone.
I don't know. A lot of money. What's he worth? We saw that fantastic.
60 million.
Yeah, 100 million pound. They're saying he's worth. So
Which is what I mean.
A lot of money.
Racing news headlines this morning.
Well, of course, we're going to talk plenty about the Caulfield Cup in a moment, but overnight we've seen Frankel leave us in such a great way. The horse has been officially retired after winning at Ascot. Let's pick it up because it's certainly well worth watching here. And 14, he'll go and stand at stud for the owner now in England, and we can't wait to see his progeny in the years to come. And it was a remarkable win given that it was a very much rain-affected track at Ascot.
Bought for €1,500, and he's come to Australia. He's won 3 from 3, winning $5.5 million. And a champion in Frankel, a legitimate champion, he's won 14 from 14, and he's earned under $4 million. If that's not a great advertisement for Australian racing, I'll give it away.
They have been 2 great.
5 starts, 3 wins.
Briganton, we saw you walk the track before with Craig Williams. What did you make of the Geelong track, Umberto?
Yeah, good morning to everyone. So, no, the track looks well. The atmosphere.
Says anything, we may well get another Melbourne Cup winner today.
Didn't you go up $6 on Sunday?
$6.50 for the good shoppers early. Briganton, the Sunday after Dunedin won the Caulfield Cup, and it didn't take long the punters to jump all over that. It's been a massive go. $6.50 into $2.80. One of the biggest goes of the Spring Carnival so far.
Well, the frightening thing is if that comes off, your next call will be what price in the Melbourne Cup?
Well, they haven't missed in the Melbourne Cup as well. He was $21 on the Friday before the Caulfield Cup. He's into $11 now. If he wins the Geelong Cup today, he'll be pressing Dunedin for favouritism.
We're looking at tote prices. Tell us what's down the page, what you've got here for it.
Here's the other one, which we opened up favourite at 2.
They have, I think, yeah. So, the Kaikuyu can.
With Gatewood jumping well, my lucky day awkward out of the barrier stalls. Brigand 10 jumped away okay, and Back in Black immediately out looking for the lead in the early stages. And he's going to settle in front about 1.5 lengths to Gatewood going up on the outside of Brigand 10. He'll be pocketed behind the leader early. Shadow Mago is settling down second last with Malucky Day last on the inside. That's the order going down past the 1,200 metres now. In the cup at the halfway, and Back in Black about 3/4 clear. Gatewood second, Brigand 10 is third, Shadow Mago's fourth on the outside. 2 lengths Tacta Wastron, Malucky Day second last under a tight rein, with exceptionally last on his outside. 900 left to go, climbing up towards the top of the hill in the course now, and the leader is still Back in Black. Just over a length, Gatewood, Brigand 10 has had a beautiful run third the inside. Then Shadow Mago, Malucky Day on the inside of Tacta Wastron, and exceptionally is a length away last. Coming down towards the turn now, and Newitt sprinting up on the outsider. 600 to go. Back in Black led by 2 lengths to Gatewood, 1.5 lengths. Brigand 10, Shadow Mago. They've kicked about 3 lengths in front of Tacta Wastron, Malucky Day, and exceptionally it's a sprint home in the cup now. Back in Black in front. Now the runs come. Gatewood after him. Brigand 10 in the clear. Shadow Mago trying to close him down there. Coming towards the 200. Gatewood moved to the lead now. From Shadow Mago. Brigand 10 boxing on. Back in Black still there on the inside. Gatewood the leader. Brigand 10 switches over his heels to the inside. And he's hanging on though, Gatewood. And Gatewood won it. Gatewood 3/4 of the Brigand 10 or Shadow Mago nearly dead heating for second place. Back in Black next time, and then Malucky Day. Exceptionally second last. Tacta Wastron was last and out sprinted in the cup.
Well, too good, G-Boss. Outstanding ride, and this will be a big move here in the markets. It'll get a penalty. It'll get itself into the Melbourne Cup field. Well, Bossy just summed it up quickly. He saw Back in Black as the Gatewood.
32.09 at the end of a Geelong Cup. So Boss was just in the A position. He cut Brigand 10 off there, just watching that. He was a bit wayward there, and then he got out and hampered the Shadow Mago a little as well. You always thought he was going to win the race, Sam. And Bruce is hedging his way over. I'm sure he's going to try and get to Terry Henderson, and he has.
Absolutely nailed on there.
Yeah, I just said there the last 600, felt like I broke 33, like very, very quick and quick through the line. You know, he sprinted very quickly, and then there was a moment there where he just sort of plateaued for about 100 metres. And then about 200 metres from the line, he just got going again and run through the line. But I mean, that's just these horses, they've got obviously 6 months of groundwork underneath them. So it was tactical. I knew that.
Well, it's a race of sectional times. The horse who ran last, exceptionally ran the fastest last furlong. That's true. Now, the official time was wrong here. 32.09 was put out, but it was 33.02 thanks to Vince Arcadi and Daily Sectionals. Anyway, my lucky Williams is well, 6 legs difference, but it couldn't run what they put up originally. 32.09. Anyway, look, out of the race, that means with 32.09, they had running basically My Lucky Day running 31.5. My Lucky Day ran 10.56 last furlong. That was fantastic. He was running race to me. Point of view, it's the one. Big one, no doubt.
Dropped 5 kilos on the run too.
Well, first won't get in, third won't get in, and exceptionally won't get in. And take the Bushman's in if you want to back it.
It's got none. Well, I'm hoping Brigginton will sneak into the field because people saying after race, oh, it's irrelevant, you can't use it as a form. Yes, you can. You can use every race as a form reference. You have to look at each horse and how it was suited in that race. And Brigganton, that's not his go. He's not a sit sprint horse at all. For him to stay on and run third like that.
Different approach. When he ran in the Cup 2 years ago.
Yeah, not too bad at all either, Gary. So he might have a crack at the $1 million. Was in the yard for the Group 1 contest tonight. This is the Sporting Bet Manikato Stakes. There's Buffering. Got out the 250 here on courses. They've found supporters. Look, his record is there to read, to know, to understand, to think he's the best horse in the race, best sprinter in the race.
Yeah, well, he's probably got the throne at the moment. It's the obvious. It was a tough win fresh. Then
yeah, he is. He's at the $13. Same odds as Mental right now, who resumes. Got a very good fresh up record. Mental went all the way through to the Daybreak Lover into the Queensland Winter Carnival. And it's a trial well in preparation for this.
Yeah, you touched on the trial. I thought the trial was really, really good.
Well, Sea Siren, she's clear danger to Buffering here. Was able to beat Buffering, of course, in the Doomman 10,000 at Way for Age. She really came of age in that Queensland.
Out to 250, they started to come into 244. Now back out to the $2.50 mark. Of course, it's been just close to $2 all the way through betting, and we've been betting in this race for a long, long time. Temple of Boom to 26. We're going to rock it.
His best colt, and I've always thought it from day one, and we'll see it tomorrow anyway.
If you had to put them in order, I know you like not to split yours. They can all win. If you had to put them,
favourite drawn one, they're ready for the Manikato. They're set. A little bit of dancing in the stalls. They're off. Buffering jump reasonably. Bell Spirit missed it a length and a half. Sea Siren jump very fast. Is going to test Buffering, but he's got the pace to lead. And Satin Shoes settled third on the outside. Now goes on and pesters the leader running to the first turn. Bell Sprinter's back there, fourth from Hello Well Bell. Temple of Boom. Then came just behind those horses, ready to rip. He might have got a slight check there as they ran before the turn at the 800 metres. And then Lone Rock and Metal, and We're Gonna Rock. Satin Shoes is working Buffering, and she leads by a half a length. Sea Siren a length and a half third. Bell Sprinter's got up in behind them fourth. They're followed then by Temple of Boom, Hello Well Bell. Lone Rock out wider, followed by Metal, ready to rip, and We're Gonna Rock. It's Satin Shoes ahead in front. Buffering just about getting up level with her. Sea Siren's had a good run right behind them. There's We're Gonna Rock. He's taken off from the back and he's put himself in with a big run. Temple of Boom tries to go with him, and then came Bell Sprinter and ready to rip, starting to work home. 5 across the track. Buffering really under siege. Sea Siren's claiming him from Temple of Boom. We're Gonna Rock out wide. Sea Siren dashes clear by 2 lengths. Middle is flashing home along the inside, but Sea Siren won it by a neck to Middle. 3 lengths away. We're Gonna Rock maybe. Although Hello Well Bell's hit the line strongly. Temple of Boom, Bell Sprinter are up there too. Closely followed then by Buffering, who just got pestered by Satin Shoes, and they've both dropped out. Back behind those, ready to rip, and Lone Rock.
High grand there, she is Sea Siren. She came of age in the Brisbane winner in a peach of a ride here by Jimmy Cassidy. He worked the speed early, then took the set, and Sea Siren.
And has run terrific as well.
The winner goes off at $5.50 here, $5.50 for Sea Siren. Mental SP's at $14, and We're Gonna Rock 13 back to 10. But Sea Siren came here Tuesday. What a start the pumper is.
You love him as being one of the main.
By Nick to middle, 3 lengths away, Weeks.
Well, great man. We saw her come of age in Brisbane, winning 2 Group 1s up there in the Doomben 10,000. Great ride by Cassidy in the right spot. Went fast forward, took a sit, and presents well.
Why not? She's an absolute star. Probably looked like she might have taken a bit of benefit out of that race, and to be able to still come out and win it the way she did, Jim Cassidy was just super confident all the way through. That's how you like to see Jimmy riding. And after the race, he said, well, she won just as I thought she did. I was kinder at the end. And it probably was to a degree. Mental was terrific. I know Richie's still bleeding that it didn't get up. Fring, as you mentioned, Rob Heathcote reporting that it didn't pull up the way he would have liked afterwards. So obviously some more to come there. We're going to rock another horse to follow
back home, but I spoke to one of the major owners last night, and pretty confident everything we are okay for the Challenger, for the paddock, I should say. But it's got to be. It didn't go any good buffering, but they went too slow.
Yeah, Glenn Schofield 36 the first half and home about the same.
Glenn Schofield said yesterday on one horse in Sydney, if you go too fast, you're a maniac, but if you go too slow, they come and attack you. Sat Shoes did nothing wrong. Jimmy Cassidy came out, made Medal was terrific, and I think it only has one more run, Medal, before it off to
Dubai with the Godolphin team. Ah, yes. We'll get a list of those for you later.
I just thought she could win. She's a good filly.
She is too, Sea Siren. Jim Cassidy on board. She's now won 3 Group 1 races, and she might get another one in the next week or two. The Patnack Farm Classic is looming.
Yeah, look, she's just so underrated. She's a real racehorse, this mare, and she's resumed in fine style there after a terrific winter. Look at her. It was a great ride by Jimmy. He just knows her so well. He knows he can drive her out of the barrier, split the field up, find a position, and then switch her off. She's got great race sense. She doesn't fire up. She's a push button type, and that'll take her a long way. It's a matter where she goes after. I think John wants to take her to Hong Kong. I think she's all geared up to go there, but there's a suggestion owned in Perth. She might go to Perth, but whatever they decide with her, she's very, very competitive. Mental was fantastic. First up along the fence here. I think he's leaving Australia to go to Dubai after the spring. He's one of the package that they've decided must go back to Sheikh Mohammed overseas. So that's their choice. Buffering. I'm Bowman's greatest fan, and I've been raving about his judge's speed. I thought he went too slow on him. He asked to be attacked. Buffering's a horse you let run along. That's his asset. Get him off the bit and chase him.
Finish off very well for a horse.
Yeah, I read it I think on the net that he'd pulled up.
Mental will go to Dubai after this preparation, so it goes to the Patinack Farm and then leaves with horses like Freewheeling, Injuna, Adroitly, Detours and Pierre Terre. They're all off to Dubai for campaigns over there. That's the market for the How Much Do You Love Me will run next week in the Salinger. And we're going to rock Dubai for campaigns over there. That's the market for the How Much Do You Love Me will run next week in the Salinger. And We're Gonna Rock's got a problem. It'll be going to the Spelling paddock, so you can take We're Gonna Rock out of everything. And the other horse,
Mitchell and Vars, our chance in Melbourne to see this unbeaten Kiwi who's been doing the job in grand style in Sydney, knocking off Prass here in the Spring Champion Stakes. We're talking about It's a Done Deal, virtually a non-betting proposition race. This. Let's go and look at Murray Baker taking out It's a Done Deal's rider here.
He's really stepping out well with a lot of confidence, and he's a magic-looking horse. Beautiful type.
He's more Magic Shane when you see
beautiful type.
He's more Magic Shane when you see
minutes. He's come in from 150 into $1.30 though on the tuck. Viking Star stays at 14. Peaked at
20, and then you're about probably 50 yards past the winning post up there in the owner's stand. But
Singing the Vars. It's a Done Deal, probably about half to 3/4 slow, and he just got brushed a little by If I Could. He'll go back anyway for his normal pattern and his last, and it's Bullion Express finding the lead ahead of If I Could, and Super Cool third at the judge with Prisoner of War fourth on the rail. 2 lengths Nisos, Viking Star, and It's a Done Deal back last, and he is Bullion Express, a length and a half clear. If I Could second, a length Prisoner of War, a length Super Cool, a length Nisos on the inside, Viking Star a neck away, and It's a Done Deal last by a length and a half as they went round the 800 metres turn. No change in the pattern. Bullion Express in front. You'd expect some moves coming up shortly. He's in clear by a length and a half now from If I Could second, Prisoner of War, Super Cool. Now Viking Star makes his move and It's a Done Deal goes with him, and they leave Nisos at the end. Coming towards the turn, Bullion Express a half to If I Could. 1 Super Cool. Now I've pulled out the widest as It's a Done Deal. McDonald working on him. He's starting to wind up very deep in the course. He's got within a length and a half of the leader. Still some work to do. Super Cool Supercool takes the lead at the home turn. It's a done deal, a length and a half away. Balances up for the run home. Supercool will give him a race. 100 metres to go. Supercool over a length. It's a done deal. He's got to dig in. Supercool's rolled back to the inside, but he'll hold on. Supercool by 2 lengths. It's a done deal. Viking Stars 2 lengths away third. Bullion Express might hold the fourth from within Prisoner of War and Nisos. And if I could, dropped out to run last. He just might have pulled a bit in the blinkers if I could, but there's an upset here.
There sure is a big upset. Mark Kavanagh pulls the upset on Cox Plate Day with Supercool outstaying.
Continue and be the widest runner. All right, 1 3/4 by 1 3/4.
All honours clearly go the way of Supercool, $150,000 yearling, just like the price of the winner of the Cox Plate. Supercool. The margin was decisive, a length and 3/4, if not running away from the Derby favourite. It's a done deal in the run home. Of course, James McDonald said suited by a bigger track. That may well be the case. If it's going to have to be the case, what do we make of It's a Done Deal off that?
First time I've seen the horse in the flesh. He's not overly impressive to look at. He's a nice enough
kilos.
Yeah, nice enough horse type-wise, but he's only small. What I noticed after the race was a couple of the horses, having finished the race, were up and sort of walking around, their ears up, having a look around. It's a Done Deal looked tired to me. His head seemed to be hanging quite low. Now, that's just my observation. Adrian's spoken to him. To the stable this morning.
Yes,
probably able to shed some more light.
Yeah, spoke to Murray Baker. Look, he wasn't that disappointed. He said it was the first time he'd raced left-handed. He said he may have been a little bit soft on him. He said the run will do him the world of good, and he thinks that you'll see the real It's a Done Deal, Richie.
In 7 days. I agree with him. He's most impressive.
That's the market.
But he's clearly my top pick, and I think there's only one danger to him. Honestly, I think Electric Fusion's the big odds. I can't see anything out of that race.
So you think Electric Fishing can at least turn around on a rough start?
Yeah, I can't see anything out of that race.
Fishing can at least turn around on a rough start.
Yeah, I can't see anything out of that race at Caulfield beating Electric Fusion.
5.5 star one in Sydney yesterday coming down. Solomon was good, yeah.
Yeah, he was really good.
Look, I don't know where you're coming from about the ride, Richard. I thought he made his move at the right time. He got within half a length of him on straightening, and I think the other horse outpointed him, outsprinted him. I don't think McDonald could have done anything different on It's a Done Deal. That's his racing. Look at him here. He's ready to pounce. He's there. He's there at the right time.
I'll tell you why I disagree with you.
Why?
Right, small field. There wasn't a lot of pace in that race. He drew barrier 5. There was no problem in being a little closer. I think it was
been closer in his life.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he can't be. Just because he hasn't been
outside of his comfort zone as in a lead up to a derby.
That would not, Ron. It's ridiculous to say in a slowly run race, being a little closer in a race like that would have been outside his.
He
comfort
couldn't have been a yard closer.
Oh, that's rubbish. That is rubbish. Rubbish.
He was in the right spot at the right time.
No,
he was a dominant horse coming into the race.
He made a long, sustained run around the outside at Moonee Valley. It's very hard to do.
He'll be a better horse at Flemington.
I think he can still win the Derby.
Oh, I think most people. Well, he's still favourite, but I mean,
this is the Drake International Moonee Valley Cup coming up. A couple of Melbourne Cup contenders on the show here. Midas Touch is in the field. I think Precedence is there as well. So to Unusual Suspect, but
Unusual Suspect comes up into his place in the gates. And over on the outside, Midas Touch jumps away pretty well. Ruben Percival has ridden with some urgency early. Shinzu Steeds and Ibasenko are showing a fair bit of dash in the early part. And Realia is going to ease off that leading quartet. He's just wanting to go a bit faster at the moment in those red colours. Then there's Falling Einstein, well off the speed. Behind Realia makes play. A length and a half clear. Midas Touch up in second placing now from Ibisenko. And Ruben Percival a neck away running fourth. 2 lengths Shinzu Steeds Einstein. Precedence coming to make his run a bit wider. And then Vadu Vide Unusual Suspect is last. So Realia has the lead coming up the side. Midas Touch about a length away. Now the runs are coming around the outside. Precedence is coming with a strong run at the school out about 5 wide. He's joining in very quickly. Precedence. Ruben Percival goes with him. Midas Touch the first one to show a white flag, and Precedence takes the lead. Unusual Suspect has come from last, and he's putting in a run. Shinzu Steeds and also Ruben Percival are still staying on, and Vadu Vi's come into it. He's just on the back of the leading horses, and Einstein's got nowhere to go down on the fence. Precedence with Ruben Percival coming at him. Vadu Vi's getting the split in the middle, and then Unusual Suspect. Vadu Vi's race to Precedence and Ruben Percival. Vadu Vi enjoying a strong run race is drawing away, and Vadu Vi came away and beat Ruben Percival by a length and a half. Einstein 2 lengths away, third in front of Precedence. A gap unusual suspect, followed then by...
Going to need a fair bit of luck here to get into the Melbourne Cup, and a strong staying performance in the Moonee Valley Cup here for Varduvai, who was brilliantly ridden here. But Varduvai, great story here for Peter Moody.
At this stage. Just that's the first leg of the quaddie down. Now we go to the
Only tomorrow, but it won't be enough. And I doubt that would be a 3 kilo penalty job there for Varduvai, who cost, guess what, 150,000.
Valley Cup. Were they serious Melbourne Cup contenders or not?
Well, I don't know about that, but look, I still think Vadavai is a promising horse. He's another one of these 3-year-olds that have turned Melbourne Cup. I think there's a case to say that this should be a qualifying race for the Melbourne Cup. Not so much looking at this field, but just the timing of this race. I think it'd be a lot stronger field if it was a qualifying race for the Melbourne Cup, and we need more of them, because I heard Peter Moody talking on radio this morning. He made a lot of sense about it. You know, like you say, you can qualify running third in a Leopardstown hurdle or something, you know, in Ireland, and we can't qualify with our own
I've
races.
been saying this for quite some time. Qualifying races are the way to go because it forces the Europeans to
play, because we've got the Schweppes Mile coming up here, but we thought we'd get Sam Hyland out on the track.
always been favourite ranking, and remember they did bet solid $4 on Thursday and Friday about him, and that's been well and truly taken. This is a drifter, Solzhenitsyn, 440 out to 6, 60 to 1 space mover. He'll run favourite ahead of Ambidexter. They're clearly the two, but the Sporting Bet Market mover, the one on your screen. And that was the first time we'd seen him down here, and he smashed the course record. He really caught a really impressive.
We all thought he should be running. Rangdu was the first out ahead of Solzhenitsyn. Spacecraft jumped all right. Ambidexter is going back for a trail early. Through the first 200 metres here, Spacecraft is going up wide on the course, having a peak for the lead, and they'll let him go. So Spacecraft crossed over ahead of Solzhenitsyn and Rangi Rangdu third the outside. Led at the 800 metre mark. He's just over a length. Rangi Rangdu moved to second from Spacecraft. Tokugawa's now fourth, and Solzhenitsyn's got shuffled back a little bit. He's now fifth near the inside, followed by Ambidexter, Silent Achiever. 600 left to go, and Elo, the leader. Rangi Rangdu is ranging up strongly on the outside now, followed by Tokugawa. Ambidexter starting to creep into it the outside, and then Spacecraft. Solzhenitsyn's shuffled out the back, and Silent Achiever. Rangi Rangdu, found the lead a long way out. He's in front of Tokugawa. Ambidexter, Silent Achiever. She's having the last run at them. She's starting to wind up. Rangi Rangdu in front of Tokugawa. Silent Achiever starting to come home hard. Silent Achiever's race to Rangi Rangdu. Silent Achiever put her head in front of Rangi Rangdu. Solzhenitsyn flying home late, but Silent Achiever, the first mare ever to win it. She scored by 3/4 to Rangi Rangdu and Solzhenitsyn. Then Ambidexter, who just battled away with Tokugawa. Elo weakened out, and so did Spacecraft last home.
He's here. He's here. Coming up. Roger James.
0. And there's your interim dividends on the screen. 7, 1, 2 and 5, the first 4 pays 317. And the running double on the first.
Terrific mare she is for Roger James and Kevin Hickman, the breeder. Richie spoke to yesterday. Is that right? Other mares in the Melbourne Spring. Only one division, I think. But she's up there with the best of them. She might be the one they need to beat, Sharp.
Yeah, absolutely. Another really good performance from the back of the field. We saw Silent Achiever and the Caulfield Guineas, which you've touched on. Hoy Lonnie as well. Came through that race and was a winner yesterday. Amazing winners there. Laserhawk, I hope to see him off with that little injury. He's going to be a fantastic horse. I thought Rangi Rangdu was fantastic. Ilo didn't take him as far into the straight as probably would have liked. He did the best he could, and look, he's a terrific horse. Ambidexter, if you like that horse, do not drop off him for the Emirates, because he did not handle Moonee Valley at all, and his last 150 was quite good.
Status of the race first time.
I thought he'd win yesterday. He was just beaten by a better horse on the day.
I think the weight for age status of the race first time at that. You've got a weight for age result. Silent Achiever, the mare with the pull on Rangi Rangdu and Solzhenitsyn, who performed well at weight for age. I think give it some.
Roger, obviously she was only second up there yesterday, third up into the matriarch. Is it a light spring, or maybe going to Perth with her or something?
Yeah, I've always had a great sense of him.
The others. As the Cox plate was presented to the chairman of the club, of course, the connections have picked what has been described in the past as the finest 2 minutes in sport in Australia, because the atmosphere that this race creates is like no other. Position's just about filled here. We might be able to go to Gay Waterhouse shortly and catch up with Gay, who's I think Richie's
shorter here on the tote. He's popular, 13.7. Ocean Park now, they're starting to back him. Bossy's been upbeat about him all week. He's 650 into 5. There's Piero out to 550. Money for Poissy, the other Gay, 3-year-old, 11 into 10. There's the 650 into 6 Ocean Park. More Joyce was back yesterday, but today is 750 out to 850. We'll get back to her in a moment. There again, you can see the move for Price there. He's the best of the 3-year-olds for the mine, and I know Bruce agrees.
Of what could happen on this.
4, Green Moon, well tried both Thursday and Friday, and backed up today, $5.50 into $5 in the last 2 minutes.
And there's a shots above Mooney Valley. Not much room left there. We're all room left there. We're all right to go for the Sporting Bet Cox Plate. There's Green Moon, the Sporting Bet market move up for this race. Not sure the jockeys have got the nerves going here. They're proper for this great moment. The Cox Plate. Here's Greg.
Before the running of a Cox Plate, the adrenaline starts to run. The replays of the previous Cox Plates are shown on the screen, and the favourites get their udders in. They're set. They're ready. Stand by. They're racing. Piero jumped all right, so did More Joyous. Ocean Park snagged early, so too Shootout. Glass Harmonium a little slow. Happy Trails away brilliantly, and so too is Prasia and Piero inside of these. More Joyous posted 5 deep. Ethiopia is showing a bit of dash, pushing up on the inside. All Too Hard just behind the leading bunch of horses. Out to the 1600, a surprise leader. Ethiopia from Prasia going on the outside, and Happy Trails a link to the half third. All Too Hard next on the inside. More Joyous trapped out 3 wide, and Pierre out the centre. Then there's a length and a half away to Rekindled Interest. Glass Harmonium and Green Moon tracking out wide. Has More Joyous out in front of him. 2 lengths to Ocean Park, and they're being followed then by Shootout, Sincero, Southern Speed, and a length and a half to Linton. At the 1200 metres now, and Prasia had gone to the lead. Ethiopia let him go, came off the rail, sat second. All Too Hard's getting a nice run third the inside, and then More Joyous still deep with Happy Trails pushing up in the middle. 2 lengths away then came Piero, and Nick Rekindled Interest being trailed then by Green Moon out wide still from Glass Harmonium, and then Shootout. 3/4 to Ocean Park, about 10 off the leader at the 800, followed by Sincero, Southern Speed, and 2 lengths to Linton. Round that 800 turn now at Ethiopia again moved up and went to the lead with Prasia still there on the inside. A length and a half to All Too Hard. More Joyous is hanging in there tough, followed by Piero, Happy Trails. Here's Sincero, now Ocean Park starting his move on the outside. Shootout's trying to follow him home, and the rest look to be struggling. Coming to the home turn, All Too Hard's coming with a run, but it is Prasia the leader. All Too Hard coming after him. Ethiopia boxing on. Ocean Park's winding up, and next was Piero coming around the turn, and the 3-year-olds are the leaders. All Too Hard, but now Ocean Park starts to wind up. All Too Hard from Ocean Park, and then came Piero. All Too Hard and Nick in front. Ocean Park stride by stride getting to the 3-year-old. Ocean Park went up to All Too Hard. They hit the line. Ocean Park wanted to hit to All Too Hard. Third, 3 lengths away, maybe Piero from Ethiopia, who kept on giving something. Southern Speed got home from Shootout, and further back was Prasia, Sincero, Happy Trails, followed by Green Moon, Never a Hope, nor More Joyous after racing wide. Linton towards the end, followed in then by Glass Harmonium, and last to finish is Rekindled Interest.
It's a great contest, and it goes to New Zealand. Ocean Park in the driving finish. The older horse guns down the young gun in All Too Hard, who was brave in defeat. Piero, the other 3-year-old, runs third. But Ocean Park gives G-Boss another Cox Plate. It was a brilliant G-Boss ride, presents at the right time as he guns down. Means a lot to you to bring this horse here and bring their hopes with you and finally win a Cox Plate again. Well done.
No, it's great. I'm really pleased for all New Zealand, and Glenn's been singing this horse's praises, and if you haven't been listening, well, too bad.
Been a faultless preparation, haven't you? And to cap it off today, well, how fitting.
Oh, look, you set a plan way back in last autumn, and just a thing hasn't gone wrong with the horse, and today was huge.
Great contest, wasn't it, out there? Thrilling to watch. And this horse, you found yourself 150.
Today he's proved, he's the best weight for age horse in Australasia.
That's for sure, if not one of the
moment when it comes to celebrating a Group 1 win than this man, Bossy. He's just done his network interview, and now
the big moments, and you've been talking this horse's praises for the entire spring campaign, and caps it off here, and obviously means a lot to you.
It feels like my greatest achievement in this sport so far. I know I've done some wonderful things, but I've been on this Colts corner the whole time, and there's been doubters, but all I kept saying is a winner. Everyone just keeps on ignoring the obvious. He just wants to win. He just wants to beat whatever in front of him, and full credit to Johnny Hawks' colt. He gave me a real good race today, and he was he was a great horse on the day, but my horse he doesn't care what time they're running. He doesn't care what's in front of him. He just wants to beat them. And once he gets there, he just switches off. He's just an absolute beauty to ride.
Why do you say? Why do you say that's one of your great? Why do you say that's one of your great achievements? There's been 3 Melbourne Cups on Mackay Beneva. There's been Cox Plates on so many things. Why do you say that?
I signalled this. I penciled this horse in after the Caulfield Guineas. I said this is a star. And I kept telling everyone. I think when this horse comes back, his next preparation, you just watch. He's a serious finding out ways to get them beat. And you just simply can't get them beat. He should have won his last 6 races all at Group 1 level. He's an amazing animal. He just wants to win. And what a great colt. What
Ocean Park, 7 wins in its career from just 11 starts, doing what Northerly did, winning the Underwood Stakes into the Caulfield Stakes into the Cox Plate. Perhaps that's a good measure of this horse as he guns down a terrific 3-year-old in All Too Hard. First Kiwi since Sunline's back-to-back victories in the race, and the horse that wanted to win won the race, Shark.
Absolutely, Bruce. It was a strong test, wasn't it? They certainly didn't lope around and jog around like we have seen in previous Cox Plates. The time was pretty good comparably to some of the faster ones of the last decade. Theo, I think, was the surprise, and he probably ensured that it was a test throughout. And it suited Ocean Park and it suited All Too Hard. When you saw All Too Hard jump out of the barriers so well and take that position, you knew he was going to be hard to beat. And then Ocean Park around the outside. So it was a stirring finish, Richard.
No doubt in the world. And with Ocean Park, you had to give All Too Hard 8 kilos. And the point of the turn, the run that he had All Too Hard, and knowing how good he was, I thought he was home for sure. I said, he's just going to have that little too much legs in him with no weight on his back. Wonderful effort, Ocean Park, for such a...
What's the perspective into this horse, Rich? How good is he? I mean, that measure of Northerly, what he did to go through 2 years through the Underwood Caulfield Stakes and win and made it 4 Group 1s in a row for Ocean Park. How good is Ocean Park?
Very good, isn't he? Makes the Rosehill Guineas form look good. Solon and Cheese and Ocean Park behind Laser Hawk. But yeah, look, I underestimated him going into yesterday's race. And I think Glenn Boss said it to you yesterday, Bruce, in the interview. He wanted to become the hunter rather than the hunted. He said he loafs as the hunter. The winning move, I thought, was when he switched off the back of Green Moon of racing.
He raced a lot closer than I expected, but he got a lot better too. So I was happy enough to let him there travel up a bit closer with no weight on his back. Through the run, I couldn't have been happier. He travelled up like the winner, got off their backs down about the 1,500 mile, and I thought he was going to be hard to beat from there. Shot through off the corner, but the winners probably dropped off a little bit quicker than I would have liked. If they had kept rolling, it probably made a bit of a difference.
Our plan was if he got away clean and felt like we could get there quite easy, we did. Once he got there, he switched off nice, and we made sure it was a nice gallop from the half mile. He stuck to his guns well. Couple of wasn't in the plan, but to be honest, the way the race was run, I ended up getting a nice run and had all the breaks when I needed them. But I thought he ran a good, solid race.
You don't win many Brett Fraser races sitting 3 wide. He did get tight and buffeted around out the straight the first time, but I didn't have a horse from the 600 at all. Ocean Park followed me throughout, and basically when the chips were down, I was expecting my horse to pick up. He tracked a little bit sideways around the turn and didn't show his usual guts and determination in today's race. So most importantly, see how he pulls up.
What would you make of it from a Melbourne Cup point of view then?
Well, look, I'd just like to see how he pulled up because that's not the horse that I know.
Did a little bit of work down there. It's no good in those races. She didn't have much luck from the gate. I felt the pressure was pretty solid the whole way, which made it very difficult to sort of go forward and get in. Like I basically just had to try and rate her, and get her a bit comfortable, and just sort of a little bit concerned. She was sort of she tried her heart out, but she sort of seemed to be a bit found wanting, a bit further away from home than I probably imagined.
He wasn't in those jockeys for me, Bruce, was Nashville, wasn't his first comment. Didn't have any much luck from the gate. They had the first choice, the barrier, and drew 11. Well, let me tell you, I know John singing it reasonably well. He was not a happy camper. He was livid after the race. Really disappointed. Gay convinced him, and Duncan Grimley, that the barrier was perfect. He said, I don't believe it, but I'm going to go with it. And he backed up, but then we just had 14. Whether he would have won or not, we don't. Irrelevant.
I think it affects people's perception of her overall career, because her overall career is sparkling. I think it's 9 Group 1s, and yet the 2 Cox Plate performances somehow diminish the greatness of her as a racehorse.
She's more choices is a great.
He misses the start every start.
Well, Green Moon's a problem. Adrian, you spoke to
I spoke to Lloyd this morning. Green Moon, he said, is the hospital ward up at Macedon Lodge. Midas touched the splice its palate. Green Moon battered and bruised and sick and sorry. Decision on both those early in the week. Before that,
I thought all 3-year-olds. Great. Obviously, was terrific.
Yep.
Terrific. And his barrier manners were better yesterday and lobbed in a perfect spot. And Piero, I thought he'd have it was good because he looked to spent force at the 600 and he kept going.
Almost run of race, Ethiopia.
Oh, absolutely.
Now press on towards the Melbourne Cup. Well, they'll play up, and I'm pretty sure they'll go that path now. And we'll be upside with Ethiopia. And of course, in the speed. And have a look at these for us. You've got to be mindful where Brigantine is, or Brigantin, what do you call it? Brigantin,
Well,
Shawadi.
changed his name 4 times in the race.
Well, 2 there in serious doubt, Brigantin and Shawadi. Now, this stage, Brigantin that top lot. Doesn't look to be, does it?
Well, no.
Because I think you've said not many of these are running next week, so there won't be that attrition from those who run.
I think it's about four on the
consecutive Group 1 yesterday and the big one, Ocean Park, for Glenn Boss. When the big races come around, he certainly gets the job done. 4 Group 1s in succession. Very, very hard to do that.
You know what? I can't remember the last time I noticed a horse has won 4 Group 1s from a spell. This preparation, 4 runs, 4 Group 1s, it's a magnificent training effort. This horse, I underestimated him. I didn't think he was as dominant as he is. The ride from Glenn, while it wasn't Picasso-esque, it certainly wasn't painting with a roller either. It was somewhere in between. It was planned. It didn't all go right for him. He thought Green Moon would cart him into the race. He was trying to get on the back of Green Moon, who ended up going nowhere. So he thought, I've got to come around him. And the horse was good enough to do it. All too hard. Thought that was a great run. I thought Chris Muntz gave him a great ride in the race. And Piero, it was a great ride on Piero as well. He's run 3rd. He battled on. They're good 3-year-olds. But they were just beaten by a better older horse.
Yeah, he's a terrific horse. He reminds me a bit of Octagonal, who just does enough to get it done. So he slips under the radar, this horse. It's funny how they come out of that Caulfield Stakes and we thought, oh, that's a slow time race. There's nothing there in the figures to say those horses can train on into a Cox Plate and even a Caulfield Cup, because Alco Pop runs second to him. But I think the key to that race was they still had something left for the main event, and they both produced career highs at their next start. So a great effort from him. He's a serious racehorse, and who knows what's ahead of him in the autumn before he goes to stud. I don't think we can let the moment go without giving John Hawkes a rap for the way. I think we all rode off all too hard after his Sydney campaign. The thing he had up his sleeve was the John Hawkes sense of timing. I must say, well, Team Hawkes sense of timing, because they've just peaked that horse for the Guineas and the Cox Plate, and he's just run out of his skin there. And Chris Muntz was unlucky in the fact that he just got left there a little bit too soon. It could have been one of the great all-time Cox Plate rides from Chris Muntz, but he was just beaten by a better horse on the day. There's no doubt about it.
About Ethiopia.
There's no doubt about it.
About Ethiopia. What a run that was.
Where'd those tactics come from?
I support those tactics. I don't think he's got the turn of foot to.
I reckon he would have been Richmond ridden back in the field and come with his strength is his finishing burst.
I don't know.
He's an untapped talent, that horse. Like I said, he's one of those group of those 4-year-olds, which included Ocean Park.
Yeah, the autumn 3-year-olds last year. Where were the spring 3-year-olds from last year? They're not around, but the autumn ones were good.
Yeah, I'm interested to see.
You see Green Moon about midfield.
He's summing up on the Cox Plate. Anything unlucky? I mean, did the best horse win yesterday?
Oh, the best horse invariably wins the Cox Plate, and there's no doubt at all that the best horse did win the race, and he's a proven winner, and it's just taken a while for a lot of us to open our eyes to know how good he really is, and full credit to Glenn